Every year, many stupid people graduate from college, and if they can do it, so can you. Ladies, gentlemen, and variations thereupon, this is Modern Escapism. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Professor Oodles, and joining us in today's class, we have majoring in amateur dramatics from the York College of Competitiveness and Exquisite Tantrums, it's Stig.
Hello, I'm back.
It's back, baby. Majoring in the Nautical Sciences and Sexual Health from the Northern France Académie de Maritime, it's Biggie.
Wow! Nailed it.
Bonjour would have done.
Yeah.
And majoring in body art and ancient practices from the Bristolian College of Groupies and Merch Sellers, it's Candy.
Morning, sir.
Good morning. And unfortunately, Gadget won't be joining us this week as he's been expelled for lewd behaviour. We'll see him next time.
Kept getting his cock out.
Frowned upon. So, before we get into the show, please consider becoming one of our sexy and incredibly cool patrons to help us divide and conquer the podcasting world. Details are in our show notes, but mainly check out our website, modernescapism.co.uk, for more exquisite content and links to everything we do. And now, it's time for our oldest segment of the show. It's Biggie's Breaking News as of last week. Biggie!
Yes, have I got news for you? So, I do. Here it is. So Embracer, a company, has established the Embracer Games Archive to save as much of the games industry as possible. According to an article in Eurogamer, the company formerly known as THQ Nordic have announced plans to preserve video games, to archive and save as much of the video games industry as possible. According to the article, they have already successfully archived 50,000 games, consoles and accessories at its hub in Sweden. So they're also asking for people to, obviously, if you've got something that might be worth of interest, to donate.
I'm a big fan of this. I don't know if they're doing it for any nefarious reasons, but I'm still a big fan of it.
I'm sure they probably are, but it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised it's taken this long.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I mean, we have, there's already exhibitions, isn't there? And there is some place that's dedicated to video games somewhere, I'm sure. But it is something that I think is really important, because yes, we have emulation available to us, but I think it does need some serious thought about, considering how quickly the technological world moves on so fast. It's important that this stuff is sort of archived.
Especially the digital age as well. That was much more difficult to keep track of.
Absolutely. Speaking of which, of difficulties, Sony's PlayStation Plus had a bit of a weird launch over in Asia. Not only did they... this is quite a difficult one to explain, but basically people that had stacked some PlayStation Plus tiers, I think you could have it up to like 3 years, when they were trying to convert it into the new tiers for the new service. They ended up being told they had to pay the difference between what they tried to save, which is outrageous. Apparently it was a glitch, and that Sony have now apologised.
Oh, yeah.
And
of course it was.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
but
sure it was.
Yeah.
According to Digital Foundry, they've also had some issues about the emulation for the PlayStation 1, 2, and PSP titles. The quality, particularly some of the games are in 50 hertz and are not performing particularly well at all.
Oh dear.
Do you know what? I really don't know the difference between 50 hertz and 60 hertz. I remember when I was younger playing the PlayStation 1, and sometimes it asking you, and when I clicked on a certain hertz, it made the game black and white. That's all I can remember. Obviously, my telly wasn't supporting it, but is it frame rate? Is it a frame rate thing? I don't really get what it is. Is it a smoothness or?
Yeah, I think
someone
it was.
with a science background should know.
Faster because it would put the border in as well, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. Yeah,
border if it was. But apparently they just ran better and smoother.
Like that.
Where is he?
Yeah.
God, he has to be excluded, didn't he?
Can we just text him quick?
I think Biggie's right. I think it's maybe something to do with the speed and how it ran on your TV, but I'm really not shocked with Sony fucking this up, to be honest.
Who is?
Especially when the emulation for their classic was so poor that other people fixed it for Sony so that it would work properly.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, and they've got the same issue again, haven't they? And speaking of which, Gran Turismo, yes, that fantastic racing game has for some reason been put forward for development for the studio for a movie. And Neil Blomkamp apparently has been approached to develop and direct it. I only put this in there because I just don't fucking understand why on earth that has been put forward as a movie.
They're just starting to grab at anything, aren't they, at the moment? Any IP that's available.
What's that going to be about? Do you know what I mean? It's just there's no plot behind Gran Turismo. So yeah, exactly. But it's just there's already better stuff out there. There's just no point. I don't get that.
Still waiting for the Tetris film.
It's just Sony doing like if you've seen Uncharted, they obviously have the big whole like Sony movies with all the games in the logo, similar to like the Sega one before the Sonic film. It's just them going, oh, let's just make a movie out of our IPs. Next 5 years, we'll see God of War. We'll see
the Rapper.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
The Rapper. That'll work as an animated movie, I'm sure.
Yeah. Actually, Horizon isn't that in the news this week? At Netflix turned that into a TV show.
Yep.
There you go. Yeah.
So yeah, there's a certain IP I can understand, but just Gran Turismo, I don't get that at all.
I suppose I can understand it. Yeah, I suppose they can, because it's a clean slate, isn't it? Maybe they can see the end of Fast and Furious on the horizon. They're like, right, we can sneak in now.
No.
to play
racing game, racing film, like, and have like some kind of story about racer against racer, and make it exciting and have exciting races, and if it's shot well and if there's a good story behind it, and there's a rivalry. So
not the Fast and Furious franchise then?
Yeah, rivalry between drivers and. You could do
to play devil's advocate massively. Yeah, that's to play devil's advocate. Like, Gran Turismo is a serious like racing aficionados game. So if they do a serious racing aficionados type film, make it beautiful and you know what I mean, make the soundtrack. It might not be about a specific person. It might be about a team of a racing team. Do you know what I mean? I reckon, like Ford versus Ferrari and. Rush films like that. Do you know what I mean? There's something there. It doesn't have to be a silly Fast and Furious because it won't be. It's Gran Turismo.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm not impressed though. But there you go.
You just want Killzone.
They could do a Killzone. There you go. That Halo's had a TV show that Sony will bring out Killzone.
John Killzone.
Proved right. There's already talk of Killzone in VR, isn't there? So.
Huge if true. Joking.
Anyway, there was Metallica were performing in concert in Brazil when Joyce M. Figueiredo, who was 39 weeks pregnant, was sitting in the special area at the show, began to give birth as the Enter the Sandman was playing.
Oh, weird to
Enter Sandman, not Enter the Sandman.
Well, all right, whatever.
That's a pod title.
Enter the Sandman.
So, yeah.
Attack on Titan. What was it? Attack the Titan.
Attack on the Titan.
Attack the Titan, yeah.
Attack the Titans.
I think that's quite cool. That's a story and a half, isn't it? Like, when people say,
do they call the baby Metallica?
Oh, I'm born here, I'm born there. It's like, I was born at Metallica concert during Enter Sandman.
They'd have to call the kid Sandman, though, and that's not so cool. Sandy. Maybe Sandy.
Could call it Lars.
No, not Lars.
Who'd want that?
Anyone but Lars. He'd probably sue the baby.
He would.
I'd call it...
the child.
The child, the baby. This joke would be better if I could remember the name of the download service. Napster. Yeah, I would call the baby Napster.
Baby Napster.
How many weeks are you supposed to be pregnant for? Is it not 39?
I don't know.
Neither do I.
She's 39 weeks.
That's
why would
average.
you go to a Metallica concert if you're...
I've never been pregnant.
I imagine that it was probably a delayed gig from the pandemic and they thought, fuck it.
Yeah.
I'll
Go.
No, but you're still quite in a safe environment if you're in like a special area. And like when my missus was pregnant the second time, because it was like, second run, easy peasy. She went to fucking Scarborough and she was like, I started labour. I'm like, you're not having a Scarborough baby. Get back here now. So we got lucky on that one.
Northern jokes.
You don't want to
there's
trust me.
Just a few announcements of Jodie Foster in True Detective Season 4. I need to watch Season 3 yet. I haven't got around to that.
Me too.
1 and 2 I really liked.
It's not as good as 1, but 2 wasn't either, was it?
No.
Nothing as good
but
as
I
1.
enjoyed it all the same.
It was incredible.
Yeah, I think it's a great series.
So all up for Jodie Foster in that one. Mandalorian Season 3 being announced for February 23. I'm looking forward to that. There's lots of trailers which we were just about to go into that came out this week. But I just wanted to mention, of course, that Ray Liotta sadly passed away at 67.
Yeah.
Which is far too early.
Yeah, that was a
Absolute
shocker,
legend.
really, wasn't it?
Yeah. Like just
He's in a good few. He's in a good few of my all-time favourite films. He's in Goodfellas, obviously. Blow, I love Blow. He's in that. He's just, I don't know. There's something about Ray Liotta when he was on screen. He had a charisma and a presence.
Captivating.
And he had traditional boyish good looks when he was younger, and he aged into his face a little differently. But I still, fucking hell.
That's a loss.
Scene in Hannibal where he's eating his own brain still gives me the chills.
Yeah.
Goodfellas is an absolute masterpiece. Like
it's one of my favourite films of all time.
It's a film that everybody should watch, and he is outstanding in that film. Everyone needs to watch Goodfellas.
I'll read the book as well. Read the book, Wise Guys. It's fucking sensational.
He was also obviously the voice of Tommy Vercetti in Grand Theft Auto Vice City, which is my favourite Grand Theft Auto. Just perfect for that character.
And I don't know if this is true, but for me, back then as well, that was one of the first massive big celebrities to voice games. That was a huge get, in my opinion. I know there's been others, but that was huge.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Probably around 2002, wasn't it?
Because it's a massive game. It's not just a cameo. Like, obviously, you got a few celebrities doing the point and click audio, little bits of audio, repeated audio, but that was a full-fledged 40-hour game, and he was the lead throughout. I thought it's fantastic. I know there were quite a few celebrities in that, but huge. Yeah. And that character will, for my money, always be the best GTA protagonist.
Vice City is one of my favourites. I mean, you go back and play it now, it doesn't compare to something like GTA 5, but just...
Yeah, they've all got big rectangle heads.
At the time, it was like they'd moved on from 3, now they had like a protagonist who was voiced and acted. Yeah. Like the setting, the 80s setting, the music, the look of that game was incredible. And he just added to that.
They did what people didn't expect with Vice City as well. They made the city smaller, but more dense and more lived in. And I've always preferred that with GTA games. Like, 5's you might think 5's a massive map, but San Andreas is even bigger. But there's a lot of emptiness in San Andreas. A lot. So, yeah. Fucking Paul went out to Ray Liotta.
Sad
Absolutely. Times. But to cheer us up, there was lots of new trailers announced or came out this week. Any particular favourites?
Just a bit. Thor.
Thor, for
Love
sure.
Thunder.
Thor's. We finally saw the God Butcher himself.
Yeah, Christian Bale as Gore, the God Butcher. Like, they've obviously changed him a bit from the comic book. I think that's a good decision. People
I like how he looks. He looks less Dragon Ball
Z. Yeah.
And the reason they say it's like, you've got Christian Bale in your film.
Don't cover him up.
Bale in your film. Don't cover him up with CG. You look at someone like Proxima Midnight in Infinity War. You can't tell that's her. I didn't even know it was. Like,
it's Gemma. Is it?
No, it's. You know what? I feel really bad for forgetting her name, but she's from the Leftovers,
Eternals, isn't it?
No, from Leftovers.
What am I thinking?
It is Carrie Coon.
Is it?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't even know that, but now you said it's clicked.
It's Carrie Coon, and because she's covered in CGI, you cannot tell. And
my God.
You can't have someone like Christian Bale be in your film and cover him up like that. And not only that is, take away the nose and have him all white. Like everyone's just going to say he looks like Voldemort.
Yeah. So
what's the point?
Yeah.
So yeah, I love the look. I love the vampiric kind of. Like he looks really scary. Taika said
he looks paler than me, which is strange.
He's going to be one of the best MCU villains you've ever seen. I just hope it's not wasted.
He's great in the books, and he's a presence in the books that's always there as well. So I hope they don't just kill him off in this film.
Yeah,
don't do an Ultron. Don't do an Ultron, please.
Yeah, don't do that.
My heart can't take it.
Him. It doesn't need to be someone that. Sorry.
No, sorry. Carry on.
I was going to say it doesn't need to be someone that is like a villain that carries on over various different films.
Just let him survive.
He survives. He can come back. We'll see him again, kind of thing. If he's good in it, but I trust Taika Waititi. He's saying it. He's great in it. It's Christian Bale. He usually is great in it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
And for all accounts, no tantrums on set. So
well, that's a shame.
It's good. He's been good for the past 10 years, hasn't he? He's been a good.
Can't have it all.
Yeah, we also saw a trailer for Willow. That looks really good. Well into that.
That looks quite fun.
So
I didn't realise it was a series rather than a film.
I was about to say, is it a series?
Yes.
I've never fully watched Willow.
On that one.
Oh, I think it looks really fun. I'm well in for something that's like that. We get in, they had Wheel of Time, and we've got Lord of the Rings. We've got all these kind of super serious.
Let's have a daft one.
Ones. Let's just have something that's family friendly and fun, and that's what it looks like. When the music kicked off in the trailer, I was like,
yeah.
I've never fully watched Willow. I know it's the Val Kilmer and Warwick Davis joint, and I know people love it. And I have seen bits of it. I've seen a goat. I've seen Val Kilmer in a cage. I've never watched it
quite
all.
Horrific in parts when they turn into pigs.
Is it George Lucas?
Yeah, it's Lucas.
Yeah,
film.
I thought it was.
Yeah, it's one of the ones that Disney acquired when they bought loads of Lucas.
Well, at least it's not wasted, because I bet it's someone's favourite film. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, my wife loves it. Yeah. Kids really enjoyed it when we watched it.
I always find that Willow and Legend were quite interchangeable. Like in my memories, I can't really distinguish what happened in either of them.
Legend's fucking terrible.
I can't remember anything about
Legend
Willow.
is terrible. Trust me. Tom Cruise one, so. Tim Curry.
Yeah.
It's
fucking terrible.
I haven't seen it since I was about 5.
Oh, it's shy.
I just like Kroll. I always remember Kroll. That was really cool.
Kroll's good. And there was a bit of a renaissance, wasn't there? Because you had Labyrinth as well, a never-ending story. You had all these.
The Slayer as well.
Yeah.
Really cool.
And the Dark Crystal. Ooh.
2 more trailers. We got Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. Just a lot of action shots in that. Not really much in way of any plot ideas. So
don't like watching Tom Cruise run.
You have no idea what has happened. It's literally just a series of action shots, and I think there's
I've said it before on the podcast.
Spoken.
I love watching Tom Cruise running. I don't know. There's something about it. He's a great runner.
He runs. He runs a lot.
When he runs and he smiles.
Is it a smart car or is it a Fiat or something that they're using? It's unusual to see such a tiny car used in the stunts. That's quite good.
Yeah. Not sure, but I'm sure it'll be like the last few Mission Impossible films have been great, and I don't expect this to be any less great. Is that right?
I really like the last one. The last one were really good.
The last one.
I like them all. I like them all. I don't think they've done a bad one.
2's not so great.
I don't think it's shocking. It's just not that good.
Particularly like 2.
Again, Metallica soundtrack.
Best theme.
And the Biscuit.
And Biscuit as well, yeah.
There's some good stuff in 2, but overall I thought it just jumped really quickly, didn't it? From like kind of a espionage film with a few action sequences into
a character piece,
being a complete superhero. Like it was
he grew his hair out as well.
Wildly different.
Yeah.
Final trailer, Star Wars, Andor. We had a lot of Star Wars stuff come out this week. There's been the Star Wars
Explain
celebration.
this to me, this Andor.
So Andor is a character from Rogue One, and this
Which
is
character?
Andor.
Was he the... No, I like Rogue One. Was he the French resistance guy? I think he was French.
No, I know I'm being snide.
Moustache, little moustache.
I've seen Rogue One once, and I can't remember. but it's
Andor just doesn't mean anything to me. What
was funny was I did when I watched this, I thought this is very Rogue One-esque looking, and then I did a little reading up about it. It's like, oh, it's a prequel to Rogue One, so it's about a character from Rogue One, and
I know it's got Mads Mikkelsen in it,
so it looks really good. Like it doesn't. It looks like a more serious side of Star Wars thing, which kind of Rogue One was. So I think if you like Rogue One, then you're probably going to like this one.
Is that another build up to people that we know are going to die in the future?
I mean, we do. If you've seen Rogue One, spoiler, this guy dies.
The ending to Rogue One, though, fuck. It's the best ending to Star Wars.
I watched
kind of gutted that everyone died.
Yeah, on the side. No, well, you already know they did, don't you? Because they say it.
Yeah, the actor.
Wars. Yeah. A side note from that is I watched a TikTok clip of someone watching Rogue One for the first time, and the partner's filming it, and obviously they did the big bit where it all blows up and everything, and she's crying, and then she sat there weeping, and then Vader comes on screen and does his whole thing, and she's all like,
that bit is
the tonal shift.
My favorite. It's my favorite Star Wars moment. I think it just shows the sheer power.
Yeah,
and I hope we get that in this new show that we'll probably be talking about in the Nexus.
So that's it.
Is that the news? Is that the news, Biggie?
Yep.
That's it, mate. So over to you, Rules, for a traffic update.
Just get the bus. Get the bus, it's easier. You have to wait a bit longer, though. Right, so on to the Nexus. We've got probably a jam-packed Nexus here, so it's going to be here, there, and everywhere, because a lot, like with the trailers and stuff, a lot's been happening this week. An absolute awful lot. So I'm going to start with you, Biggie, because you're the man that does the least.
Oh, God.
You do?
I was off ill. Yeah, I was off ill for best part of a week as well, so I ended up watching a few things, to be perfectly honest.
Oh, did you?
What I did catch was We Own the City. We Own the City, which was the...
White guys from The Wire.
It's like a follow-on.
Yeah,
from the guys that made The Wire, and it's so good.
I've watched episode 1 and 2.
Bloody good.
Really into it.
The Wire's phenomenal. So it's got big shoes to fill.
And there's actually quite a lot of recurring actors that have popped up as well, which I didn't know.
Oh, that's good.
Really surprised to see them appear in that. I've lost my notes for the show, but basically,
with Desmond and Mudda.
It centers around John Bernthal's character, doesn't it? There's a lot of time jumping back and forth, setting things up.
It's to do
saw the trailer to it and I thought, I'll wait while they're all... Are they all out now?
No, it's a weekly show. It's still on.
I'm just going to wait until
tomorrow is the final. It's a six episode, and the final's out tomorrow. But it's just, again, brilliant writing, brilliant acting, viewpoints from all over the place. It does time jump. But it goes into the investigation to, I think it's 7 police officers that are involved with the gun trace task force, and basically there's some corruption involved. And John Bernthal, is that how you say his name?
Bernthal,
yeah. His character is brilliant because the only way they can show the time jump is by changing his hairstyle and what hair he's got in his face. Shows the time jump, so it's actually quite funny at first when you see it.
Time jump as well.
But once you get your head past that, he's superb. You can't take your eyes off him when he's on screen. He absolutely chews the scenery, but in the right way. He's so nasty in this show. And there's loads of cameos for people from The Wire in different characters as well, so they're not carrying over from the same thing. So it's really nice, brilliantly done, very entertaining. I'm gutted it's only 6 episodes. I assume there's going to be some more. I
kind of like that it's 6 episodes. I'm kind of into that.
It's good that it finishes, but it's just so good. I don't want it to end.
Unless it's
so much out, mate.
Going to have it is going to be like a follow-on season thing. Then 6 episodes a season is not the worst thing.
No, not at all.
I think 8's always quite a sweet spot.
It is.
Yeah, The Wire was 12 episodes. Per series.
Yeah, you're right. I've enjoyed I've only watched the first 2, but I've enjoyed what I've seen so far and the different viewpoints from. You've got obviously from within the police force, the task force, going up to the commissioner's kind of view, and then people within the mayoral office and that kind of thing. Like it's coming at you from all different
Department
directions.
of Justice investigating why these police officers are still serving, why have they not been suspended or fired, and all this kind of thing. And
why has this guy got so many complaints against him, yet nothing's happened?
Oh yeah, Josh Charles, he plays Herschel, and he's the guy from did you ever watch The Good Wife?
Yep.
Any of you see that? Well, he was like the love interest, Will, the lawyer. And he was like this, quite a straight character, but very sort of the eye candy of the show. And in this, he's a nasty
like you.
piece of work. He's excellent, really playing against type. Yeah, he's really playing against type. He's fantastic. But yeah, I also watched The Northman. I thought that was really good. Really impressed.
It's good, isn't it? It's really good.
Really enjoyed that. It didn't do anything new in the concept of the story. I just thought what they delivered was incredible. I thought it was just so beautifully shot, so well acted. But
well, it's a director that's not done a bad film yet, so
yeah, exactly.
Keep it going.
It felt like a video game at one point. He had to do the side quest to go and get his sword.
Yeah.
It was really well done. I really enjoyed it. I just thought the cinematography was second to none in that. Really good.
I like
stunning.
The cinematography in the final scene is, I'm not going to spoil it, but that was just, I fucking loved that. The way that was shot. That final fight. Just thought it looked absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Really good. And the last thing I watched was Obi Wan Kenobi so far.
We're all going to talk about that in a second.
Yep.
So I thought
we're all going to jump into that.
We haven't got there yet. Haven't had time.
We haven't got there yet. Stig, have you got anything that's not related to the two big shows that have dropped this week?
I do. First thing I'm going to talk about is Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, because
let's do it.
I really fucking enjoyed this film. I'm a massive fan of Chip and Dale when I was a kid, and coming back and doing this film, when I saw that they were going to do this kind of Roger Rabbit-esque cartoon characters living in the real world, I was like, really? I saw the trailer. The trailer looks pretty fun, but I love what they've done with it. I love that. So the concept is Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers was cancelled, and throughout the years between, Chip has just got a normal job, and Dale's got himself this like CGI update. So one of them is still a cartoon character, and one's like a CGI character. And
Dale's basically like Will Wheaton. He's trying to recapture his youth.
And Monterey Jack goes missing. He's voiced by Eric Bana in this. This is done by the Lonely Island guys. 2/3 of them. So it's Andy Samberg and John Mulaney play Chip and Dale. Yeah. And so Monterey Jack goes missing, and it's up to Chip and Dale to try and find out and track down where he's gone. And I just really enjoyed what they did with it. I love the cameo. I know you Oodle said it was a bit cameo heavy, but for me that was one of the biggest joys about it. Seeing what
that's
they did.
The only
with the
major flaw I had with it. I love that. I did like it, but not,
like you've got some great. You got like Will Arnett playing Sweet Pete.
I love Will Arnett anyway.
Seth Rogen's in it. J.K. Simmons is the police captain. And I mean, it's already been spoiled and out there as but one of the cameos, Ugly Sonic, amazing.
Ugly Sonic's in it.
I absolutely love that. It's Ugly Sonic at his own little table at like a Comic-Con convention.
With his teeth.
Every time they talk to him, like one of the characters just starts looking at his teeth, and it zooms in on his teeth. And starts talking slowly, and they're looking at him in disgust. And apparently, Paramount did not know they were going to do that. But because it's because it's a parody. It's
theirs anyway, isn't it?
They could get away with it. Disney were able to get away with it as on the parody side of things.
Yeah.
But it just mixed in loads of Disney characters, loads of non-Disney characters. You get like cameos from from Thundercats, from Transformers, Voltron, from all different.
Voltron was there.
Yeah. Seth Rogen's character I absolutely loved. They do this kind of mid-2000s Uncanny Valley where he
make it look like Polar Express.
Yeah, he can't move. So it's in between that where where characters looked. They tried to make them look realistic, but they look really weird. So you can't move his head, you can't move his eyes properly, and the jokes that come from that are so good.
That is funny.
And there is another Seth Rogen joke later on, which was just...
Yes, that is really good. My favourite joke in it is a joke that's no one's talked about, is the fact that Chip's got those fucking AirPods in his ears and they're just massive sticking out of his ears. Love that. When he's going home from work and he's got a full-size AirPods in his ears. It's funny. Yeah, and no one's really talking about that.
It's just funny how, like, these are obviously little chipmunks. They're tiny, living in this human world, and obviously regular-sized humans, they're chipmunks, and I just really thought it worked really well, and I was well into it. It's on Disney Plus, so it's definitely worth checking out.
On the back of that, though, just before you move on, when that film finished, because I watched it with kids and they fucking loved it. They had to ask me every time something popped up, "What's that from? What's that from?" But after that, and the credits rolled and stuff, it was like, watch all seasons of Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. I went, fuck, I didn't know that was on.
Yeah,
sat and watched at least 10 episodes of that. Fuck me, there's some good episodes of that.
I watched this without my kids because I wanted to watch this. Didn't want to wait till the weekend to watch it. I wouldn't have had time to watch it otherwise. I was like, fuck this, I'm going to watch this because I want to watch. I loved Chip and Dale when I was younger. There was episodes I remember that they show at the beginning of this as well. I was like, but there's a joke right at the beginning, literally had me laughing in the first minute.
Yeah, it's funny. It is really funny. It is really funny. I like Lonely Island guys anyway. I think they produce some good stuff.
Yeah. Main thing this week, though,
that with my daughter.
I think Candy wants to jump in on me with this one, is I had a need for speed. I entered the danger zone.
Take my breath away.
I went to see Top Gun Maverick.
Top Gun
Maverick. My word, this film is fucking incredible.
It's so good, isn't it? I'm so glad we agree.
So good. One of the best action films I have ever seen at the cinema.
It's It's the movie of the year for me. Like, without a doubt. Straight up there.
It's so good. A quick backstory on the whole film, and the premise is this is about Maverick. He is pulled back into the Top Gun unit because he needs to teach a bunch of young, kind of the best pilots. The pilots around kind of the same age he was in the 80s, and he's got to teach them to do all this stuff, to do this mission. They've got to blow up this uranium base that's being made underground. They've got all these things they've got to do and got to learn to avoid being killed, basically, and he's the only man that can teach them. And to throw a spanner in the works, one of the pilots is Goose's son, Rooster, played by Miles Teller.
Oh, Goose didn't make it, did he?
No, so there's a lot of...
Isn't this plot to Hot Shots?
kind of resentment from Rooster's side, from, like, obviously Maverick and Goose, and kind of blaming his dad, and other things going on there as well, and Maverick worrying. He kind of tried to take on the father figure, and he's worried about... He even says in the film, if I take him on this mission, he could die and I'll lose him forever. If I don't take him on this mission, he'll resent me forever and I'll never see him again. Yeah. And he's kind of got to weigh all these options up. You've got a love story on the side with Jennifer Connelly playing a character called Penny, which I thought was a really nice side story to it all. I think the chemistry between them was really, really good. It looks like this part might have been put in there for Charlie's character originally, but them not bringing Kelly McGillis back, I think they just went with someone else and new, and it works. They play off them two having a relationship before, and this is kind of he's back around the area, and it's rekindled that relationship, and it's a nice love story on the side. It works really well, but this film, honestly, action is where this film's at. You could nitpick at a lot of other little bits here and there in it, but the action in this film is absolutely incredible, and you can tell and understand why Tom Cruise refused to put this out on streaming during the pandemic. He flat out
because
said,
this was finished years ago, wasn't it?
I think it's been in the can for about
2 years.
Yeah. 2020, I think.
Yeah.
But just to piggyback...
Can I just say very quickly? I was just going to say, I thought it was an odd question that Kurt asked in the Discord was, do you need to see the original to see this? And to me, you would.
It's the second one.
I don't...
I wouldn't say so.
Actually, don't.
Yeah, my friend that I went with,
that's really surprising,
hadn't seen it, and it's fine. Most of it's kind of it's explained in flashbacks and stuff, but even so, like to go off what you were saying with the story, I think with the mission itself, they knew that you don't really care about the intricacies and the small details. You just know it's a difficult mission, and they don't go into too much detail. But yeah, in terms of having seen the past one, I don't think you need to have seen the first one.
That's what a lot of films, when films don't have 2 or 3 in the title, that usually means it's not a reboot, but a new story. Do you know what I mean? So you can get away with not seeing it. Because if they called it Top Gun 2, you'd have expected it to be full-on direct sequel.
I mean, even then, there's not a lot of it. If you're going with somebody who hasn't seen it before, it takes about 2 minutes to explain really the main points of the first one. They're in planes.
They played volleyball.
You have a bit of, if you've seen the original and you have affection for it, you kind of
soundtrack's great.
You feel a bit more towards Cruise's character, towards his relationship with Goose's son, and obviously with Iceman as well. So yeah, you don't need to have seen it. The film does a good way of explaining what's going on and what happened.
Did both of you rewatch the original before you saw this?
No,
I've seen it so many times. I didn't need to. Do you know? I did enjoy that they really did fan service well, but they got most of it out of the way in the first 20 or so minutes, so then it could kind of concentrate on its own thing.
It literally starts with Danger Zone, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I turned to my friend, Danger Zone kicked in. I turned to my friend. I was like, I fucking love this already. I'm so happy right now.
The fan service
got one of the best soundtracks of any film ever. The original.
Dude, Danger Zone. He gets on his old Kawasaki. He gets on his old bike and everything, like the same bike and things like that. He's got the same jacket on, that kind of thing. So. Does it well on the fan service.
I mean, don't spoil it too much, but does it explain the fact that there's a 60-year-old man in a fighter jet?
This is the best.
Yeah, but he's a 60-year-old man in a fighter jet.
60. Gets his top off.
Doesn't, but he is.
There's another sweaty beach montage.
Gets the top off.
Yeah.
Does it? He looks great. He looks great for his age.
60 this year, and it doesn't look 60.
No, it doesn't.
This film, honestly, the action in this, you can, like I was saying, there is a reason that Tom Cruise and the rest of the team said this has to be in the cinema. This isn't going out on streaming service because you have to see this at the cinema. If you can see it on IMAX, go see it at IMAX. Genuinely, the plane sequences are incredible. It's all filmed for the film, so there's no CGI. The actors were in cockpits doing their action sequences. Obviously, they probably weren't doing all the twisteds and turnings that
no, probably not.
But
I think a lot of the time, actually, they were. Did you hear about the training that they had to do to get into these planes?
Really?
I was reading
really
about
impressive.
it today. So they had to learn to breathe. So in some of the scenes, you can sort of hear Tom Cruise doing the kind of breathing, and that's
so. What you're telling me now, then, is that Miles Teller is a trained fighter pilot. He can play the drums to a professional level, and he can set him. I just can't believe that guy. That guy.
And this film also has him playing the piano and singing, so there, add that to
that.
Is he the most?
Like Andy says,
incredible.
Some of the making of I've seen of it. They had to train the actors while they're in the plane to understand where the camera is and how to act in front of the camera whilst spinning around and doing all that kind of stuff. So
I know.
Pay attention to other planes around them.
Yeah,
I've seen the making of the original, and some scenes are shot where the actors are in a cockpit, real while they are in the air, and obviously the pilot behind them's flying it. But they just get rid of that.
Yeah, I mean, someone else flying, obviously.
Yeah,
but in terms of there might be a little bit of CGI here and there, but in general,
don't matter, does it?
Sequences between the planes, there's times where they're just weaving in and out of things. There's things that fighter jets can do that I did not know they could do.
Yeah,
the way they can move is incredible. It's like ballet. It's honestly the stuff that they can do in those planes is amazing.
Well, the design on birds, so they should be good.
Yeah, it's just honestly, I've never felt that exhilarated watching a film. Like Marvel films.
Perfect way to sum it up. We did, especially towards the sort of final scene where you know they're going into a real difficult mission. Me and my friend were so nervous. We were basically just like hugging each other.
I was moving a lot like this, like kept moving, like shuffling my seat, like gripping the arms, literally gripping the arms, moving my butt to the edge of the seat. Like it's just the woman a couple of seats down from me was crying during the scenes because it was just so overwhelming. It looks incredible. She was crying. Oh, mate, it looks incredible. It sounds incredible. She obviously has a massive attachment to Top Gun because even all the everything outside the action as well, like the acting, the cinematography, the characters, the soundtrack, all of that's great as well. It's not just the action, like everything around it.
I trust Tom Cruise films. I know a lot of people slag him off and stuff, but I trust his films. I think he's got a good eye for what he needs to do. And I know he has a lot of behind the scenes. He does a lot of the producing and stuff like that, executive producing and stuff. I know he's got an eye for it. He's one of the best in the world, but he's just a madman outside of his acting.
Well, that's why he has to produce most of his films, because he does so many of his own stunts. He has to put his own money into it, basically.
Yeah.
No
one insures him.
It's already hit 285 million.
That's good.
So
That's good.
So it's obviously. I was there at 11 o'clock this morning, and half the cinema was full. Like this, it's going to be massive. And
did everyone in the cinema have aviators on? Because I would have gone with aviators on.
I actually bought some after I
jacket.
saw it. I shit you not. I went to TK Maxx.
I've got leather jacket, aviators. I'd have been there. Like,
yeah,
just for the
honestly,
need for speed.
If you have any interest in seeing this, don't wait. Do not wait. Go to the cinema.
I might see it on Tuesday. I've got a spare day.
You will not. You won't regret it. It's incredible.
I'm not far from an IMAX either. I've got a spare day.
I would definitely go see it. It's just, I loved it.
I put my levers on. Any excuse to get them levers on, you know what I mean? Even if it's boiling.
If you do see it at IMAX, you might want to take a sick bag, because 80% of it is in the air.
I'm fine with that.
So good. Even the training missions in it, though, you can oh fucking hell, like even that gets you going. I'm
up for it. I like these type of films because they're different from the aliens are taking over America. I like to see this kind of different take on action. I'm always up for it.
Yeah, there's no bad guy. There's no you don't know who the bad guy is. Just we have this
just
mission. We have to blow this up. We have to do this, and this is what we have to do.
Standard military.
You're just taking along on the journey, and the action around it is just awesome.
I'm down for it, mate. I'm big
and Tom
style
Cruise
down for
does
it.
Run.
Yes, that's it. You got me. You got me. I love to see the man run on a wing. Cool.
It took my breath away.
Oh, I'm waiting for that. Is that all yours, Stig, for now?
Yes.
Is that yours, Candy, for now?
I've got just one more thing that I saw, actually. It's very, very brief because we talk about it all the time, but I finally saw The Lighthouse. I watched it after we recorded last week.
Ooh.
I know.
And?
Why did I wait? So I started watching it. To begin with, I struggled.
What do you mean?
The boys have done me wrong here. I struggled a little bit. I'm so glad I stuck with it.
Oh, thank God.
My God, it's so good.
So Did you spill your beans?
Oh, I just spill your beans, boy. Oh, my God. But just to see those two, just the two of them, Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, acting and just bouncing off each other. Like, I had to sort of stop watching, take myself out of the moment and then think.
Yeah, it's intense.
Just incredible actors. Like, I've never seen Robert Pattinson in a role like that before, and I completely see what you're saying about him now. Oh my God,
he's one of the best actors currently going. He is phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Two guys descending into madness. It's just so. Well
I read an article on it when it came out, after it come out, after I'd seen it. And someone says it was completely unrelated to the film, but someone said, "What's your favourite play that you've seen?" He's like, "The film The Lighthouse." I'm like, "Whoa!"
It is, because it could easily be two guys on the stage.
It's the best Lovecraft play ever, and only. Excellent! I'm so glad you buzzed off that.
Candy enjoyed the jism as well. I'm sure.
I bet you did.
Spunking
into a lighthouse. What's he doing? What do you think he's doing?
Slapping noise? Oh God!
Bashing the bishop.
God, I know he's...
Right, let's get into the meat, because two big shows dropped this week. We'll start with the show that you can't complete yet. We'll start with Obi Wan Kenobi. I want to give you my thoughts, because listener, my thoughts on Star Wars lately, and I'm down on Star Wars lately. I fucking love these two episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love them.
As you can for both.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to spoil anything
because I've not seen anything.
I'm not going to spoil anything I talk about from now on. I think this is a return to a form of Star Wars I haven't seen in decades. I think it's phenomenal. There's something about Ewan McGregor. He is the best thing in the prequel trilogy.
Yeah,
I'd like anyone to argue with me on that one.
Did you watch the recap that they offered at the beginning?
Yes, sensational.
That
beautiful.
The
they remade
best way to watch So the prequels.
Did
of
you know
Star Wars is through that
the remastered moments from the original prequel and made it look modern? It looked fucking good. It looked really good. But there's definitely something about Ewan McGregor that you can't take your eyes off him at all. He is Alec Guinness. He is obviously. He always did. He did say he based his impression on him, didn't he? From start to finish. And this does seem like an early Alec Guinness, and that's what I like about it. There's some. And without spoiling anything really, it's not what I was scared that it's just going to be stuck on a planet like we were Book of Jango Fett, Boba Fett. Sorry, Book of Boba Fett. I thought, I hope we're not stuck on a planet. We're not stuck on a planet. That's the only spoil I'm going to say. We're not stuck on a planet. The villains, classic Empire, Star Wars baddies. There's just I don't know something. Did you watch them both, Candy?
Yeah, I'm the same. Really enjoyed them. I'm also going into it without having seen any of the most recent Disney series on Star Wars, and this is the only one really that I've been interested in seeing, and it really does just kick off straight from.
It doesn't feel like those other shows at all.
No, it doesn't.
The other shows had a lot of moments where a character, and in both shows, a character without a face, with a mask on, staring at the camera, trying to emote without having a face. Like, I don't think Mandalorian's bad. I think Mandalorian got better as it went on, massively.
Yeah, I didn't stick with it. That was
Mando
kept improving.
It's
very good
when the story started to kick in. When it was like mission of the week.
Mission, yeah.
It was like, this is kind of fun. But then when he actually had a purpose and
Season 2 of Mandalorian is really good.
Relationships with Grogu and other characters. That's when it kicked off. And
it did.
Yeah,
agreed.
And I mean, it's telling
Book of Boba Fett was the last 2 episodes were good.
The best 2 episodes were the ones that featured Mando.
Yeah. But this is like, all right, I get why they dropped a two-parter, because it's like one little narrative. Yeah. There's just something about, there's a foreboding in this film, like. If you've seen the trailer, you know there's a foreboding menace there. You know there's a Darth Vader somewhere in the galaxy. And there is a forebodingness about it. Do you know what I mean? You can see it, can't you, Candy? All about it. It's just, we all know he's there. And it's frightening because he's still one of the best villains ever created. But the villains in this, the Inquisitors, they're pretty fucking good and all. I really like them. They remind me of a better fleshed out versions of the ones in Jedi Fallen Order, because they had Inquisitors in that as well.
Oh, that's right.
They're a lot better than them ones now. It's just, I don't know, there's something about the cinematography's way better. It's not doing that. Like, there are scenery shots and nice panning shots, but it's not lingering on them like Book of Boba Fett did. Fuck me, there's so much of Book of Boba Fett where it's just a bald man staring out into a desert. Literally for fucking an hour.
I think it was a better sequel to the prequels, or prequels.
Yeah,
prequel to the most recent films than the most recent set of 3 films were. I think it's better than those for sure. So far,
it's believable.
Yeah,
that's what I think about it. Like what they want in Obi Wan to do. It's believable how you're getting him to do these things, because for all we knew, after the third Star Wars, he just stayed and watched Luke Skywalker in a cave.
I mean, it's amazing what you can do when you actually sit down and think about what story you want to tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I think if you've got any love for Star Wars, I can already tell people are going to adore this. If you've fallen off Star Wars a little bit like I have of recent years, barring Rogue One, because I thought Rogue One was incredible, I think this is going to kind of reignite that spark again, because it feels much. It's not trying to do that theme. It's not a space western anymore. It's back to fantasy, amazing visuals, just fucking Ewan McGregor being Ewan McGregor. He's sensational.
Do you think? So what you're saying about Ewan McGregor, obviously, channeling Alec Guinness. Do you think that now this is near enough 20 years on, just shy of 20 years from the end of the prequels that it lends itself better, that we've got an older, more like wiser looking Obi-Wan, whereas he was still young then, trying to play. Like, if you look at the actual time gap over those 3 films, that's meant to take place over some like 30 odd years.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan, the only thing that happens is he grows a beard, and he doesn't. Even though he's kind of channeling Alec Guinness there, you don't really see it. You kind of look at it and go, how does he turn into that?
Yeah.
You think that now you can see.
By the time you hit New Hope, he's looking an old man. There's this massive gap.
Short white hair, short white beard. Yeah. And you can see it. You can see it in this already.
Yeah.
You really can. You can see that stoicism that he has. You can see it's kind of it sounds strange, but it makes sense. He's channeling Alec Guinness and he's channeling Qui-Gon Jinn in a bit, because he was his master, he was his mentor. I'm seeing that Qui-Gon Jinn element to him.
Yeah, I can see that.
There's just
can you
see
a cameo from him in this that they've kept secret as a Force ghost?
I could. It's alluded in the recap. It does make note, and it lingers on it a little bit, where Yoda says to Obi-Wan, "We've found a way to communicate with Qui-Gon." You know what they did in. So it lingered on that a little bit, but we haven't seen nothing of that yet.
I think we'll get that at some point.
There's nods, but it just, I don't know, there's something really good about it, and I think, I'm glad to be liking Star Wars again. It's like a load. It's like, oh, thank fuck for that. I'm not a weirdo, because everyone loves Star Wars, and some people are blind by Star Wars. Do you know what I mean? Like, some people say Han Solo, whatever it's called, is an incredible film. I'm like, have you watched it? Have you really watched it?
Fun. It's fun.
I enjoyed it, but
I enjoyed it.
It's fun.
It's not as
I
good
enjoyed
as
it.
Is
the
it
film.
incredible?
No.
It's better than the prequels.
Mate,
was it though?
most things are better than the prequels.
I
would
think
disagree.
Solo's,
Exactly.
I think Solo's better than the prequels.
I wouldn't say that. The third prequel was good, I thought. The second, not so
It was
much.
okay. It was okay. The second one's
the
terrible.
acting-
The
it's
second
the
one's
acting
worst
in the
one out of the
prequels.
whole lot.
Yeah, it is.
Natalie
Attack of the Clones
Portman's
is-
nipples were the only standout from the prequels.
My God.
It just
My
stood
God.
out.
I thought we'd get through this without one of those. But yeah, I really liked it, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's just an episode a week now, isn't it? Going forward, which is absolutely fine. Which will tide me lovingly into. Is it Miss Marvel next? We've got. I think we have, haven't we? I think that's the next one. Yeah, into Miss Marvel next. So Disney Plus again, bringing the goods.
How many Obi-Wan episodes are there? Is it just 6?
6, I think.
6.
Yeah.
6, yeah. That's nice. That's like, again. That's all you need. Don't drag it out.
Yeah. Don't drag it out.
Well, one thing I will say before we move on is, and it's not ruining anything, but the final scene of the second episode, my mouth was just open.
Yeah, my
heart just jumped out my face.
I did not expect it, me.
I know. I had to rewind it I think I rewound it about 3 times to watch it again. I was like, oh,
you watched it, Big.
God.
I didn't know you watched it. Sorry, mate. I didn't ask.
Yeah, I said at the beginning.
Have you got any thoughts in it then? Come on.
No, I totally agree with everything you said so far. That's what I'm saying.
That
same
final
thing.
bit. That final bit. That's like my heart went into my throat, and I was like, "Fuck!"
It's scary.
I felt 8 years old again. Like when I first started getting into Star Wars, I was like, "This is it. This is what we needed." It feels like I don't know who's creating this. I don't know who's doing it, but it feels like they get it.
Exactly. That's why I don't want to go on about it too much, because we talked about it before. But like Stiggy says about the Force Awakens, I really enjoyed that because
I did.
It was an imitation of the New Hope, which is what everyone remembers. That adventure,
It's
that
a
fantasy,
sincerest
that
form
romp.
of flattery, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's what I thought they were going to be doing with those last Star Wars movies, was go back to that sort of feeling of fun, and then it didn't quite.
Yeah, they didn't
work
have a
out,
plan
and-
for those last 3 films.
No,
They did not have
these
a plan
shows
whatsoever.
where I personally thought Mandalorian absolutely nailed it. I haven't finished the Book of Boba Fett yet. I need to go and just finish that.
The
off,
ending's best bit, mate.
But I've just been looking forward to this stuff if they can nail it. And yeah, I'm really happy with Kenobi so
This
far.
is
I think it's
for
excellent.
what it is, and my final thought on it is: this is the first time we've got a main character show. Obi Wan Kenobi is a main character, and a powerful main character, and it's just, I just think it's sublime, and I'm so looking forward to how it's gonna fizzle out.
Actually, just thinking about it, I think McGregor wants to prove a point as well because of the flack that the original movie's got.
Oh, he's proven it so far.
He wants this to be a success.
Yeah. Of course, none of it makes sense when you consider that one of the kids was hidden with a Skywalker, and Obi Wan changed his name to Ben.
I know. It's absolutely stupid. It does kind of mention it in this.
You just got it's like
just forget.
Your last name's Kenobi. Are you related to Obi Wan? No, my name's Ben.
No, Ben Kenobi.
never heard of Obi Wan. Okay, bye.
Yeah, never heard of him. This lightsaber? No, this is not a lightsaber.
What about the Skywalkers? Not related.
Don't know. Never heard of them.
It's just a common name. It's a common name. Don't worry about it.
I mean, technically, they wouldn't have the surname Skywalker, would they? Because they weren't Skywalkers. The family weren't, because it was
his mum, wasn't it?
It was Anakin's mum married someone.
Yeah,
it would have been
you
the
think
dad's
Anakin
name.
would be? You think that Anakin / Vader would be able to put 2 and 2 together?
Of course he would. He's been there. He knows where it is. He literally was there.
He calls himself Skywalker, so he must.
Yeah, he does.
He's kept that name.
He's kept his name. Yeah. Yeah.
It's still my favourite bit when you think about the original Star Wars is that when he's got Princess Leia on his ship and Darth Vader has no idea that's his daughter, yet he can work out the feelings of the Force and everything else. But he has no idea that person he's got in front of him is his daughter. I think it's fantastic.
That was the problem with him writing things as he went along. But by the by, that's just...
Anyway, the main thing that's come out this week for a lot of people, Stranger Things 4, Part 1. Who's seen it?
I've seen 2 episodes.
6 episodes.
You've seen 2 episodes? I've seen them all.
Of course you have.
Of course I have.
And?
Of course you have.
Right. A few people have asked me my thoughts on this. Candy, you give me your thoughts first.
I'm really enjoying
So far.
it. I don't think I'm enjoying it any more or less than previous episodes. What I do really love is how much it's basically a horror show now. It's such a homage to 80s horror.
It's Nightmare on Elm Street, isn't it?
It's Nightmare on Elm Street. It's Silence of the Lambs. It's So that part of it, I'm really enjoying.
No, it really is.
Oh, I mean, it's ramped up the horror. Something. There's always been that, like, even in the first series, you had the Demogorgon was always like horrific, and there's a lot of blood and stuff. But the end of like the episode 1 and 2, you're like, fuck me, this is this is push the limits now.
Yeah.
What rating is it? Do we know? Is it a 15 or
15? 15. No one's shagging in it.
No, yeah.
Yeah, no swears, no shagging, so you're allowed to get away with it.
They shagged in one of the seasons, season 1. They were shagging in that. And there were kids.
No boobs, though. So I think it's only if there's
no
boobs.
boobies.
Yeah.
No boobs. No willies. But yeah, I smashed it all in 2 days, basically, because I really fucking loved it. Yes. And I couldn't stop watching it. I could not stop watching it at all. My biggest takeaway is we have started to drift away from the kids from the first few seasons now, and it's about the young adults that we knew. It's not really the little kid's tale anymore, is it?
No.
It's the guy with the 80s hair. I love it so much, I don't remember people's names because they've all got generic names. Nancy, she's probably the main character in this now, isn't she? In a way.
And a lot of new characters as well. You could argue that one of the new characters is more or less the main character.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That's another thing that I really like, that they touched on the kind of satanic panic of the 80s as well.
Yeah, with the rock and roll guys,
rock and roll
Hellfire Club.
Dungeons and Dragons is evil.
Like jocks versus nerds saying that like Dungeons and Dragons is satanic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Did anyone, right, I'm sorry, but did anyone else feel a little bit drawn in by that Dungeons and Dragons now we've been doing ours?
Yeah.
No, I was still on the side of the jocks.
Honestly, no. When he when he rolls that first dice, and it's like it's not high enough. I said to Kate, "You need at least a 16 to hit him."
Yeah, I get it.
This gets the critical 20. I was like, "That's a big hit." That.
What I can say is, it's in the trailer as well. Vecna, the main baddie in this, from beginning to end, is fucking terrifying.
Oh, the digital effects on him as well. Just how all the tendrils and everything are
Slithering
just
and-
moving all the time.
Fucking
Is his
horrible.
main face CGI? Is that prosthetic? Because that looks like
Bit of both.
yeah, it looks like there's at least some prosthetics going on, which is nice because it
Like
looks
his nostril,
really...
he's like, because he's not really got nostrils, but his breathing CGI. But it's the actor that plays.
Yeah,
he is
he's,
in it. He is in it.
It's
He's
really
in it.
well done. He looks great. Really
And
does look great.
also, don't Google who the actor is.
I already know. 'Cause
I did
Oh,
that.
fuck.
internet, innit?
Fuck. Internet, yeah.
I won't then.
That's fine.
I'll go
Don't
in
do it.
blind.
Yeah, there's something about this. It just makes me feel like Star Wars. It just makes me feel young. And there is a cameo in this that made me whoop.
Mhm.
You know which cameo it is, don't you?
Mhm.
It made me. I was like, yes, they've got him. They've got him. There he is. That's my man. That's my boy. And everything about this is so fucking pure and great. It's super scary Goonies. But only Goonies for a little bit, because the kids are really second fiddle in this. The kids are there for exposition. Do you know what I mean? To let them know about the Dungeons and Dragons character. The young adults, Nancy and the fucking Steve. Thank you, Steve. They're the main ones. They're the big one. And I don't know. There's something about the Upside Down now that I think they've nailed that look of what it should look like, because you won't remember this, but it looks a lot different than the first season. It looks a lot different. It wasn't what it is in this. And I don't know, the art style's fantastic. The side plot, that's all I'm going to say, is in a different country. It's engrossing. That's probably the weakest aspect for me. It's an obvious... For me, that's the plot
kind of
to get
comic relief, isn't it?
It's the plot to get the parents away. That's what that plot is. That's we need another reason to get the parents away.
It's making me think that they shouldn't. Like, already, I'm only 2 episodes in, that they shouldn't have bothered with that, and the ending should have been, if you know what I mean, like
What you think it is.
Yeah, you bang on money, because the resolution to that is all right, but all the while, especially the last 3 episodes, when it goes to the other country, you just want to get back to America. I want to talk. I want to know what's happening. Fuck that. I'm not bothered. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
it throws you out
So can I
pacing-wise.
ask, is that it now? Have they ended it?
No, this is
Season
part
5. Well,
This is
second
part
half,
1 of
yeah.
season 4. So in 1st of July we get the second part of season 4. Then we get the third part. Then we get season 5.
Yeah, there's the last 2 episodes. So this is the first 7,
I thought
isn't
that
it?
was
Then
it.
there's 2 more episodes to come in
Mm.
July, which are about 2 hours long or something.
They're
They're like
ridiculously
they're
long.
like 2 movies. And then
The
you've got
last
season 5.
episode's a full movie length
Yeah,
that I watched.
it's like 2.5 hours. The 8 and 9 are long.
I do like the stuff with 11. They're really fleshing out her character and making her more human in this, because for a while she was the Deus Ex Machina, wasn't she? She
Yeah.
was the MacGuffin. And now Millie Bobby Brown's like, she's a woman now. Do you know what I mean? And she's showing she's showing signs of being a woman. She's lived in the quote unquote real world for years now, hasn't she? In the narrative, and you can see it, and it's lovely to see. But again, the kids are proper second fiddle to the main.
It's really
plot.
weird to see pictures of them from season 1
When they were
and
babies.
see them now.
I can't believe how big they are now.
Yeah, it's so weird.
They're men and women now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I
Lucas
still call them
looks about 30.
kids. Yeah, he does. I still call them kids though, because they are still kids,
no,
aren't
they're
they?
still like under
in high
18,
school.
aren't they? In the show.
The over 18 ones, the ones that should be in college, it's their season so far, isn't it? It's about them.
I did, without going to spoilers, I did enjoy what Elle did at the end of episode 2.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I was like, fucking right.
Absolutely deserved it.
Absolutely. So did I, mate. So did I. It's if now I will what people have never seen this Strange Things at all. I will, because I know a lot of kids that are bang into it, but it's not for kids.
No. My kids
It's
know what
really
Stranger
not for
Things
kids.
is, but they've never seen it.
Yeah,
I've never let
exactly.
them watch
Mine
it.
have never seen it.
Yeah.
They know what the Demogorgon is and stuff like that. It's like, I'm glad you know what it is and you've not seen it because it's horrific. Especially in this. There's some scenes in this that are gross. Like, horrendous.
I would be fine to let them watch it at 12, 13. Like, 'cause I watched Nightmare on Elm Street when I was like 10.
Yeah,
like, do you know
look
what I mean?
how fucked up you are.
Not, like, I think as we now, as parents go, I won't let my kid watch that. You only know how good your child is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know what your child can take. There's certain people who know that their child at 12, 13 couldn't handle this. And
My mate's kid was screaming at Paddington because it frightened him that they were talking bear. That's not even a joke.
Yeah,
Like, he just couldn't come because the CGI on Paddington looks that good.
Yeah,
He thought that was a real talking bear.
We're like now at the stage where Amelia wants to watch Lord of the Rings with me. The full.
Get her on that.
Extended things. She's seen the trailer. She's not bothered by the Black Riders and the orcs and Orokai. Like, do you know what I mean? So I kind of know that when she is getting to a teenage years, I could start showing her some 18s and stuff. And I think.
My warning's also to adults because there's at least 4 points in this show that made me jump, like shit myself. I went fucking hell, you know what I mean? Because I'm like really close to my monitor when I'm watching it, and I did like, and I didn't expect that because it was never scary back the first 3 seasons. You know what I mean? It was more interesting, and I do like the Dungeons and Dragons take on it. Now I do know a little bit more on Dungeons and Dragons. I can't believe how much it is Dungeons and Dragons.
I know.
Literally,
I thought the same thing.
Everything they do, it's fucking mental. It's like it's as if there's dice checks every time they make a decision. Do you know what I mean? It's fucking wild, but I think it's fantastic. And if they keep producing stuff of this quality, it is hard for me to cancel Netflix because this is fucking brilliant.
I have to say, I don't want to say I didn't have high hopes for it, but I was very careful to kind of manage my expectations because I know Netflix has a tendency, not just Netflix, sorry, a lot of shows have a tendency to kind of trail off. Once they know they're onto a good thing, it's almost as if they try too hard and fuck it. So I was like, oh God, is this going to happen? But I'm really pleased to say that I don't think that's going to.
From start to finish,
they spent £30 million an episode. I don't think they would have allowed this to be fucked.
Yeah, the last episode is probably the best episode they've produced. It's sensational. And I think people are going to talk about that last episode for a long time afterwards.
We'll be watching it tonight.
When you think of the very first series, how different that was to everything else that was around at the time, I liked what they did with that. I thought it was excellent.
It wasn't different to what we watched when we were kids. You know what I mean? That's the thing. It was bringing it all back.
I think season 3 trailed off for me a little bit, and I was hoping that this picks up
that, but I never
pattern a little bit.
That.
I loved 3. It was 2.
Yeah,
it was
2, not so much.
There was bits of the first season that was a bit, but 2 I liked it, and 3 I really liked 3. I really did. There's a lot of characters I loved in it. It was the summer, wasn't it? And everyone was at the pool and stuff like that. It was cool. I don't know. I had a good vibe to it. And this one is just bleak.
Yeah.
From start to finish.
Do you think it's done that thing? And I think the Harry Potter films did it quite well, where if maybe a kid was 12, 13, 14 when they first started watching the first season of Netflix, of Strange Things, it almost as if they kind of grown up with the show. So the show is becoming more adult for that.
Yeah.
For that specific reason.
Yeah, definitely. It's like these are the kids in the show growing older. You as an audience, if you were a teenager and you started this, you're growing older. You don't want to be. You want to grow with them and experience things that are a bit more frightening and more dangerous. Definitely.
I think the Duffer Brothers know what they're doing because they're fans of the time as well. And the episodes that are directed by Sean Levy are probably some of the better ones. Because they're the character episodes, and you get a lot more expansive character like expositions and stuff like that, and less other country stuff. Because I hope these next 2 episodes that come out, these feature length ones, are not based over that. Because I'm just not that bothered about the adults, the 40-year-olds. I'm not bothered about them. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Ryder.
Yeah, I'm not bothered about Winona Ryder. Who gives a fuck?
But it does
yeah.
hit that 80s feel, doesn't it? Like when the music's like all like there's a bit of synthy music in, and you're watching things. You're like,
it's those panning shots when it's sunny, sunny morning, and it's panning into an high school. Boom, yellow buses coming in.
I'm sat here now thinking, I really want to go watch The Lost Boys again. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That's making me want to. It's making me want to go like kind of just when you want to go watch
have a deep dive.
Like yeah, have one of those films like that because it takes from that kind of stuff, doesn't it? Yeah,
and it's nice to see these guys like just about ready to hit college years, which is a great segue to the main topic event. We are. Did you see that? You see it? That's what you call gonzo podcasting. The bleeding edge of podcastery. We're talking about college years. It's my episode. I thought of this idea on the fly last week. We did school days before Candy was born, because you were born when you joined the podcast.
Yes.
We talked about many things about being in school and being little rebels, especially me and Stig. Me and Stig seem to be the naughty guys.
Oh, I've got some naughty stories.
We were naughty. So, yeah, basically we're just going to do just a little chitter-chatter about college days. I mean, I'm assuming Gadget was probably a good boy at school because he's quite intelligent now and he's very good at what he does.
And look at the state of us.
Yeah, we're a fucking mess. We're a mess. So I'm going to start, I think, with the person whom I believe had quite an interesting college life. By college, listeners, as well, you might not have been to college, but I'm talking you leave school at 16-ish before you go to uni at 19, 20. Those weird twilight years. You're an adult now. In England and Britain especially, we're allowed in pubs and stuff at this point. That kind of thing. So, Biggie, what did you do in the workhouse?
I thought we were just going to have a more open conversation this week, to be honest. Because
we are, but we are going to do that. But I just want to. I'm going to ask each of you a little question first. I just want to know, like, a few sentences of what you did at college and why you did it. Not your hijinks. We're going to do the hijinks later.
No, that's cool. So yeah, when I finished my GCSEs, I went straight to art college in North London, and I did a 2-year BTEC and National Diploma in BTEC National Diploma in Art and Design. And I think I mentioned it before on the podcast, where the first year we covered everything to do with art and design, and then the second year we had to specialise a specific subject, so we were able to diverse slightly. So I did fine art and graphic design. But
so why aren't you doing the show art, the podcast art, for fuck's sake? Why am I doing it? I'm not qualified.
Done artwork for such a long time, and B, you do such a great job, and Candy is awesome.
I'm still waiting. You said you did caricatures, didn't you? I'm still waiting for ours.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
You do, yeah.
Well, I literally, I haven't done anything like that for years. That's my problem. I don't have the passion or time for it. But I'd love to get involved with having some digital software and try and get my head around doing it that way. Exactly.
You had an arty college upbringing then.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's move on to what.
I'm sorry. Go on.
Sorry. No, go on.
I was just literally going to say the 2 years that I did at college were really special for me because I came out of my shell and I formed some very close friendships there, which we still keep in touch to this day. We just obviously don't see each other that much.
Fucking love that.
It was a really important change for me coming out of school, going into that sort of age, like you say, that change in my life. And it started at art college, without a doubt.
Yeah. Cool. Candy, what do you do at college?
Well,
and why?
I also came out of my shell, but I fucking shouldn't have. My shell was
just stayed an egg forever.
Absolutely. Subject. So I've got a bit of a funny one. It's not really funny. It's awful looking back. But the first college I went to, which was A-levels, I did art and photography and IT. But it was
all
kind
the easy
of
ones.
Well, how dare you? Well, firstly, my IT teacher never showed up, but it was about halfway through the courses. I didn't get kicked out, but it was strongly suggested that I don't come back ever. And they gave me all my stuff in a box. So off I went.
Is it you're making this school look bad?
It was. I think it might have been the case because they don't like to expel people, but there's nothing they can do if people leave. So that they strongly suggested I leave. The second college I went to was in Swindon, and I went straight into doing an HND, which is I think it's like a half a degree or something, and I did that in illustration and multimedia, and I fucking loved it. It was I had so much fun at Swindon College, and it's got a really awful reputation because it is just a college; it's not a uni. But the teachers there were so amazing and so good. One of my teachers was a student from the previous year who was probably one of the most intelligent people on the planet. He lives in I want to say Kuala Lumpur or somewhere now, and he basically owns his own animation studio. But he was teaching us, and he was absolutely batshit crazy. He would just take us to the pub to do lessons. He was brilliant. He was so intelligent that his Intel actually wanted to employ him around the age of 14, but because he was a little bit mentally unstable, bless him, his parents wouldn't let him. He's just one of those just evil geniuses, but he's amazing.
Savant.
Yeah, but I really loved it. And we really did get up to some absolute chaos, but I'll go into that later.
We'll get to that in a bit. Yeah, we'll get to Stig, what do you do at college, boy?
Why? College. Why? Well, my the way our school was structured was slightly different, which I'll get into a bit after this. But in terms of subject, I just did IT and design tech. I did IT because I wanted to do it at GCSE levels. I was always into IT, and for whatever reason, our school, the GCSE level, only offered a certain amount of places for IT. Don't know why.
Oh, right.
And I wasn't.
Only 4 computers.
I put my name down for it. No, we had loads. That's the annoying thing. There was like 4 computer labs. So I put my name down for it and just didn't get on the short list. So I was like, as soon as I got there, I'm going to do IT. I wouldn't do IT because I enjoyed fucking around on computers. Probably shouldn't have bothered. It's pointless. Don't do anything with IT now.
Pointless endeavour.
Definitely should have done it. Literally, when I went to see the teacher about what subjects I should do, he's like, "We've got really good marks in English and this." He goes, "Why don't you carry on doing English?" And I should have done English and media studies, but I did IT and design tech.
You could have been a journalist by now, mate.
Could have been a journalist. Could have been working in film, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, they were fine. IT was a bit of a laugh. Like we had I got top grades in it, but the lessons were a laugh. DT was quite good fun. I did a bit of an engineering side course through DT as well. I made my own guitar as part of one of my projects. Yeah. Annoyingly though, I got so I made a guitar from a massive piece of mahogany wood. I designed the shape of it and I put it in. I cheated a little bit because I took a fretboard from a existing guitar and put it on because
it's fine.
The more I read into it, it's like you have to have the frets. They have to be precision.
You have to wax them and stuff like that.
Otherwise, it won't make the sound. So I was like, fuck this. I'm gonna design it, get the machines to cut it all out, and and do everything. The most annoying thing about that was I had to paint it in the end because the piece I got as I was router. It's a router. As I was using the router it's a router. We call it a router for that here. It's Americans have fucked up my language.
I don't know what this tool is, mate. I've never used a tool in my life.
A router is one where you kind of put it on and it's got like a little drill on it. Yeah, and you can cut shapes out.
I've seen them, I'm joking.
And as I was doing that to cut the holes for all the other electronic parts and stuff, it split the wood and it split the guitar in half.
Oh
shit.
So I had to glue it back together, fill it in, and this nice piece of mahogany wood just looked shit. So in the end, I prime it and paint it. It didn't work, but that doesn't matter. But yeah, design tech, IT, nothing really exciting. Good laughs and lessons, but it was mainly outside of school.
Yeah, we'll get on that in a bit. So what I did at college, not a lot of people know this. I did public services, which had the ultimate end goal of becoming, believe it or not, a police officer. I know. I know. Can you imagine?
How did that work out for you?
He didn't. after the first year and after a certain amount of events that I will discuss later, I was similar to Candy, asked to leave. Or
Suggested you don't return.
Suggested I don't return. And then I went on to do a music, not a degree, a music thing at a college, a community college. Diploma, national diploma, that's it, thank you. I cared about it that much. I passed it, but it was performance-based, and it's the only thing I can do, music. But to get to that, you had to do one, like, what we called a boring topic, a boring subject as well, just to secure your placement in this college, this community college. And I was looking at the list, I was like, okay. And I saw one, and it said, law. I went, do you know what? I'm going to do law. So I signed myself up to law lessons. And that's all I'm going to tell you about that for now. But yeah, hijinks with that as well. But yeah, I did music, obviously, because I'm a fucking virtuoso, as we can all tell and we've heard. But yeah, let's get up to some hijinks, because that's what people are here for. The people are here for all the stuff, the extracurricular activities that we had, the stuff that we shouldn't have been doing.
A lot of it was happening at the college anyway. Everyone used to smoke so much weed; it was ridiculous, even in the refectory.
And the teachers.
It was just, yeah.
I used to buy my cigs off my teacher.
I wasn't part of any kind of weed smoking crew. I knew people who did it. I often, every now and again, if there was some around, I would have.
He's a choker, that.
Yeah, I was definitely the kind that just like took off other people, because I'd have a part of a joint or something, but I wasn't part of people who did that.
Stoned.
We drank more than we smoked. I did smoke cigarettes, drank. But see, what I meant about our school was, our school was really weird. So we had year 7 to 9 at one school, and then you moved across the town to go to what is called the college, Northallerton College. And
just for our American listeners, year 7, you're about 11-year-old.
Year 7 to 9 is the 11 to 13. Yeah, so 11, 12, 12, 13, it's 14. So 11 to 14.
Yeah.
And then you did your last 2 GCSE years up at the college. So it often felt like you were at the college before you actually were, because you were there with the college kids. You were there with the bigger teenagers.
Because they moved you across to a different.
Because they moved you to a different school. So for us, when we talk about college between me and my friends, it's from the age of 14, not 16.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. So we have things like those 2 years I was.
Did you have to wear
crazy
a uniform?
Lego sessions?
Yes, those 2 years you wore a uniform. Then if you stayed on and did your A levels, you didn't have to. But those 2 years, I was kind of not a complete bastard, but definitely in the middle. Like, I knew where to draw the line,
middle bastard.
but I did things that I shouldn't have done. So, for example, when I was in maths class, the lads I used to sit next to in maths class were distracting me so much I was falling behind. So I knew to move away from them and go sit somewhere else and concentrate, that kind of thing. Yeah. But when I was in my science class, the lads I was having such a fun time with, I ended up getting kicked out and moved into a different science class.
It's worth the sacrifice.
I got moved in science.
Yeah.
Even though, do you know what? It wasn't even me. One of the lads that I was with was one of the worst. And for whatever reason, he just could sweet talk teachers. So he didn't get told off.
I like them, kid. They were best ones.
Me and the other lad got told off more. I once literally got told off. And we used to have in our school called recorded warning, which was a written, which was
scary.
which was a warning that the teacher would write and send to your form tutor. And then if you got so many recorded warnings, you would get detention. And if you got
form tutor?
You never have a form tutor? Like a class that you went to at the start of the day where you registered and you had a teacher who...
No, just registered in each class.
Really? So form tutors for us were like, it was you had a form, like, so...
And then they just split off into lessons after.
Yeah, so every morning we'd meet in a classroom and we'd have a teacher who looked after us as a form, and as that form you would form the basis of like sports teams and sports day and things like that.
Mate, we might have done, but I just can't remember.
But you would get you'd get recorded warnings sent back to them, and if you got so many, you would detention.
Right.
If you got so many, it was a letter home. Then you start to get to suspensions and eventually expulsion. Like you had to get a lot to get. But yeah, I like in that science class, I once got a recorded warning for literally. We were doing quiet learning because the teacher had enough of everyone and basically said, "Everyone be quiet and sit down and do your work." And I got up, walked across the room, picked my ruler up that my mate was borrowing. Didn't say a word. Went and sat back down. Carried on. Stuart, recorded warning, out the class.
Wow! Picking a ruler up. I bet you're like,
yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
I only did this.
That's
I
the
only
point.
got a ruler.
That's how bad I'd been in that class. That even walking across the room silently to get a ruler
one step too far for him.
Was one step too far with me in that class, and eventually I just got kicked out. But we,
bad boy.
We used to do a few things in those years in school. I wanted to bring up just because in my college years I was a bit more mature and I didn't kind of do these things. Outside of school was a different matter, but in school was.
God.
So we used to have a gym. We had 2 gyms at school, and one of them was a new big sports hall they'd built on the side of the school where you play indoor football, basketball, netball, that kind of thing. Yeah. And we had an old school gym which had ropes, wooden ladders,
apparatus.
Yeah, and they stored the crash mats there for like high jump and stuff like that. And the way to get into that room, just push the door because the lock did not work.
So you could play in it.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, but it usually meant that whoever was at the front of the line would just go up to it and push the door open or boot the door open. And the one day I just walked up, booted the door open. We walked in, messing around. Teacher comes in, catches us, and then they were like, "You've broken the door." Door was already broken, and we were all said the lock's always been broken. How do you think we got in and out? Like it's always been broken. No, one of you's broken the door. Own up to it. Who was it? And I was like, well, I don't want everyone else to get in trouble, and because it was me that day, just happened to be me that day. Could have been anyone. Could have been anyone in that group. Well. Just had to be me. So I was like, right, it was me. Tried to charge me like £130 to fix the lock.
A young boy.
Yeah, never paid it. Sent me the bill. Oh. Gave me the bill to take home to give to my parents. I was like, in the bin that goes.
Yeah, fuck like, that. I used to adore when they used to send things home to your parents. Hey, make sure they get this. I will.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So that was
nowadays. They email them.
That was so that kind of took us away from like we can't go in the gym anymore. Like they ended up putting new doors on there so you couldn't get in.
That you didn't pay for.
No, I didn't pay for them. Fuck. So we started to go into just classrooms and play cards. And innocently enough, just sat there with our
gambling
sandwiches and everything. No, just playing random card games. And then until one day, one of the lads decided to, for whatever reason, just bury one of the other lads in a bunch of chairs and flip a table over him.
Why not?
And then that became a thing. So every lunchtime, we'd move from classroom to classroom. We'd always pick a different classroom. We'd sit, we'd have our lunch, we'd play cards, and we called it the trademark. And all of a sudden, right before the end of break, one of the lads would go, trademark! And we would just flip all the tables and all the chairs, flip everything in the room upside down, and just walk out and leave it. so when the teachers had come back from their their classroom,
ghost again.
Yeah, the whole classroom was just turned upside down. Don't ask me why. I don't know why we did this, but it just became a thing. The trademark.
It's like poltergeist, isn't it?
Yeah. Never got found out with that one. Ever.
Well, I hope your teachers are listening now.
Until now.
The worst one that ever happened, and this is going to sound horrendous because it is. Our school used to border on a primary school, like literally college, primary school right next to each other.
I can already see this going bad. Was there a murder?
There is a chest height fence between the two. You can literally see the kids playing on the other side. And one year we'd been to France and we bought a lot of firecrackers and we brought them back and we were throwing them at each other in school and some got thrown over like too far.
The kids?
And thrown into the primary school. Not on purpose, just because we were throwing them at each other and throwing them around. And it flew over there and it blew up and one of the primary school teachers noticed it. And we fucking got an absolute fucking for it. I nearly got
Fucking
I
hell.
nearly got
What if you'd have
suspended
blinded
for
a
that
child?
because, yeah, because you were nowhere near the kids. Literally nowhere near him. It just happened to go over the fence into theirs.
Oh, it's still scary though, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
Like, you as a dad now, if you found out that high school kids have been throwing firecrackers at your daughter, you'd be going.
we weren't throwing them at
these
we weren't
kids.
throwing them at them. We were throwing them at each other.
I know, but it doesn't look like that to an adult.
I know it
does
doesn't look like that.
No.
And I remember the teacher literally pulled me in and he said, "I know you were there. I know this person there. I know this person there. I want to know who brought the firecrackers in, who was there, and who was throwing them." And I swear down, this was about 2 weeks after the door situation as well, which didn't help. And he says, "You're already in trouble because of the door, and you need to tell me, otherwise you're on the verge of
You
suspension."
still owe us for the door.
And he brought my mum in for this meeting as well. And
What's your
so
mum like
basically-
as a woman? Is she a kind woman or is she
Oh,
an
no,
angry
she's-
woman?
No, she's a rollover.
Soft as shit.
So they basically blackmailed me into grassing on people, otherwise I get suspended. My mum was like, "You're gonna have to tell him. You're gonna have to tell him." So I told
Get
him,
stitches, boy.
and he said to me, "Don't worry, I'm talking to various people. I won't let anyone know that it was you." Just so I was like, "Fine." Walked back into my class, sat back down. I swear down, he must have been right behind me. 30 seconds later, he walks in, says to my mate, "Ben, can I see you, please?" I was like, you couldn't make it any more obvious. And my mate Ben walks past me and he goes, "You grassing bastard." It's like,
Mate, if that were prison, you'd be dead.
my dad went nuts to my mum. Said he's like you genuinely let them blackmail him there. Like he goes, "A good job I hadn't been there because I would have gone nuts at that teacher."
Yeah, you've ruined his school life forever.
Yeah. So yeah, I just I'm sure there's more, but there's just ones that like
You're a naughty boy, weren't you? You're a little naughty boy.
yeah. Until when I got to college,
You knuckle
past
down,
that.
boy.
yeah,
Yeah.
it seems
Well,
to be a different
like-
switch. All the naughty kids go. All the kids who don't care about being
Yeah.
at school and influence you, they're not there anymore. So you kind of tone it down a little bit.
They become bricklayers and stuff, don't they?
They go,
Yeah,
they go
more
for the
money.
apprenticeships and join the armed forces and things like that, or just leave school.
Yeah, work at Wilkinson's or chuffing Netto.
Hey, my
Yeah,
wife
that's
works
what
at
some of my
Wilco's.
mates did. Hey, I've done a few shifts at Wilco's. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying they get in fast, and then by the time you go for a job, they're managing directors. You think, fuck, I should have.
Yeah.
I should have just got a job.
So no, I know technically that's not college days, but for me,
I'm counting it.
it's part of it because for me,
Because you were in college.
because of the way our school was structured, it was
I'm allowing it. There's no rules in this discussion. I want to talk about me and believe it or not, guys, I have a full-fledged A-level in law. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Guess what? I never in my entire life have ever stepped foot in a law classroom or done a law lesson. The administration at the college I was at was so bad that can you remember? Did you get EMA where you got paid to go to college?
No, it was
No,
literally.
no.
I think it was the year after I finished.
Yeah, we got
So I just
£30 a
missed
week for attendance. Do you know what I mean? You had to turn up and sign in and get your EMA stamp, and then it went straight into your bank account. Which, whew, £30 when you're a little rock star that I was fucking £1 million. And I used to just go into and get my EMA stamped from the law teacher, who was so oblivious and so old that didn't realise I'd never stepped foot in his lesson. So he used to stamp it every time, to the point where he went, "Good lesson today, Mr. I'm not going to say my surname, Mr. O'Dim." And it was like, yeah, you really well. And then I twigged on quite early on. There was another goth in the class, and he had same long black hair as I did, same black skinny jeans as I wore, and he thought I was him. And he kept and believe it or not, I've got it in my record of achievement, if you can remember them.
I've still got mine.
I have with my law A-level with the word pass next to it.
Yeah.
I know nothing about the law. I have a criminal record, for fuck's sake.
Well, you know something about the law then.
Yeah,
How to break
I suppose. Yeah,
Oh yeah, the law.
yeah, and that was the first hijink when I realised you can get away with fucking anything in a really bad administrated place. Because, like I say, it was a community college. The other thing, the main one I did, the first one was public services when I went into that, because I thought back then, police weren't the villains that a lot of people make out that they are now. I'm not saying police are villains, but me and policemen don't get on at all nowadays, for obvious reasons, because I'm a pisshead. But I thought I'll be a Bobby, because Bobby's back then, I thought, got paid quite a lot. You know what I mean? Got paid a lot, and nice cushy job. You get to drive a car, you get to ride a horse. I don't know.
Pension.
You what? Sorry.
Get nice pension.
Get a nice pension, yeah. I thought you said get a truncheon. I'm like, well, that is a positive, I suppose.
Get a nice truncheon.
Yeah. So I thought I'd do that, and little did I know that public services also meant army and military. So the first year I did it was like, right, guys, we're going to Strensel in York. I believe it's not far from you, Stig. Strensel Army Barracks. A million miles away.
Never heard of it, but it's near York.
Yeah.
Close by.
Yeah, and we're going to spend a week in army life. I thought, here we go. I'm getting paid EMA to sit and eat rations all day. Little did I know it was the most grueling and difficult week of my life. I was even skinnier than I am now back then. I was a wee wisp. I wasn't even tall. And an army burgen's a massive fucking backpack full of everything. It's so heavy, and I couldn't walk for it. And they made us do like a full grueling week in the army. I was in the army. They were waking me up at 4 a.m. and chucking my mattress out of the window and stuff like that.
God.
Like proper cold showers, eating crap little rations and stuff. And we had to go on treks around the moors and stuff like that. And I had a big backpack on, and I jumped over this dike like everyone else, all the sporty athletes and big rugby boys that looked like they were 40-year-old even though they were 16. You know those guys that mature quick and they've got beards. They were jumping over this like dike, this stream, loving easily like gazelles. I jump over, I cracked my rib on the top of it, and I didn't. So that was one of the things I did, and because I didn't want to be known as it's just a little goth boy, you can't handle his son. I didn't tell anyone I cracked my rib, and Stig knows it's very difficult to hide a cracked rib. It was complete. It was, and I was just like, you know what I mean? Can't be like wheezing and stuff like that for like 2 days, to the point where in my sleep, I just couldn't control my bodily functions, and I shit myself, like literally.
Oh no!
Yeah, in a barrack. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's in a barracks full of 14 other bigger boys. You know what I mean? And I thought I can't let anyone know this, so I had my Thundercats boxer shorts on. I love Thundercats, still do. And I thought, luckily it was just a shart. You know what I mean? It went full on shit myself. So, but they were soiled. I was like, shit, right. So what I'm going to do, and my bunk was stationed next to like this wardrobe or something like that. So I picked my pants up and stashed them behind the wardrobe. No one will ever find that. It's weeks later, I survived the trip. I had to go to the hospital, and they said, yeah, you've broken your rib and stuff like that, bed rest and stuff like that. Months went by. Still doing this public service malarkey. Didn't like it. I was just about ready to get asked to leave, basically, because I weren't pulling my weight. And we got the teacher he was called Major Johnson. He was an ex-army.
Major
Johnson.
He was called Major Johnson. That's what we have to call him, Major Johnson, now, sir. And he was like, he came out and went, who here knows about Thundercats? I was like, what? I didn't say it. Do you know when you just going beetroot? I was going beetroot. Like, I've been on the phone to Strensel. I was like, we were the last school trip of the year. They have found some soiled underwear behind the cupboard. I was like, oh my God. And basically, they've found my must have been weeks old shitty boxer shorts and gone, right, we need to, because obviously our college was the last one to go, so they knew it was us. Well, they thought it was us. And Major Johnson had this way. I don't know if he'd been great at Guantanamo Bay and places like that. He was very good at torturing us. So he says, I'm withholding EMA, your payment, from everyone until someone owns up to this. And everyone's like, oh, sir, no. Basically, bear in mind, it's just a classroom of boys. There was no girls on this course, even though they were allowed, there just weren't any. And he's like, right. And I just thought, I really need this money. And I'm not going to, it's not like I'm going to get fined, is it? For just saying they were mine. It was an embarrassing. So I went into his office hours after, so they didn't put two and two together like Stig and his little grassing moment. And I went, Major Johnson, I need to talk to you. Remember when I broke my rib? And says, oh, yes, I remember. Are you okay? Are you fully healed and stuff? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I says, I shit myself. They were my underpants. And he went, right. And he went ballistic, like army ballistic. They had to fumigate pipes, water pipes in the barracks. I was like, what? He went, this college has had to pay thousands of pounds worth of damages of like, I don't know, probably cholera. I don't know what I'd given them. Do you know what I mean? I could have killed people with my shit. And yeah, that's when I got asked to leave. Do you know what I mean? It was because of all that, and I had to literally. I've never seen any of those boys ever again, and I'm so glad because obviously he would have fucking told them all, wouldn't he? He would have told them all.
I don't understand why they even went. Like, if you found a shitty pair of pants, you just throw them away. Surely you didn't like shove them into a pipe, did you? Did you just find a wardrobe?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
It was like a load of plumbing behind the cupboard.
Fuck.
It was dark. I nearly killed Strensel. Imagine if I'd killed a full platoon.
What a way to go.
Yeah, and to this day, probably that bit when he came out of his office and said, who's heard of Thundercats? Probably the most embarrassing moment of my entire existence, and I've had many of those. Could you imagine that? When it says, like, the deepest, darkest secret. In my life then, at 16-year-old, there was no bigger secret. Do you know what I mean? That was the big one, the absolute ultimate. And do you know when you laid in bed sometimes on a night and your little conscience talks to it and it goes like, my conscience will go, Oodles, Oodles. Remember that time you got kicked out of college for shitting? And I can't sleep then for the rest of the fucking day. I can't sleep. Oh, God.
I'm getting second-hand embarrassment for you. I can feel my face going red.
Imagine if there were girls in that class. I'd have been doomed. I'd have been a pariah, social pariah. I'd have been cast out forever. Luckily, I went to music college, became a rock star, and shagged everybody. That's the end of my tale. God, I'm glad I've got that off my chest.
Now everyone knows. Now it's out in the world.
Out my ass. Yeah, fuck it. I'm in my late 20s now. It don't matter, does it? Come on, then. I want to hear some more stories. Now. Yeah, never again.
I've got a few. I have to go back to school though, but I wasn't on the last episode, so I'm allowed. So this is my absolute favourite school story. And we went through a phase, and it's a bit like Stig's furniture story. We went through a phase of with the school furniture, we'd start sort of unscrewing things. So it'd be like doors, it'd be tables, chairs, and just kind of like to the point where people would open a door and just go poof, straight down, or a table, just brush past it, poof, down. And we became like absolute ninjas at it. We'd start taking in screwdrivers, and we'd learn this furniture, and we'd just be like done. And we balance things so perfectly.
I bet you're also doing flat pack.
I bet she's a queen of it.
I can take things apart and not put them together again. This is the trouble.
Do you always make that noise as well? You're doing it.
Yeah, I don't have a drill or anything. This is me.
It's just you. And an Allen
and we
key.
Picked on... this went on for months and months. There was not one bit of furniture that was safe in our school. And we
furniture bandits.
And this was... we were having tutor group, which is, when you go in for registration. And we picked on one kid who was not the most popular kid in the class, I'm ashamed to say now. But we did his chair, we did the table, we possibly did the window
bully
next to him. We did the whole shebang. And he sat down and he absolutely went down like a fucking sack of shit. There was chairs everywhere. Desk was basically like on top of him. The window, I think, kind of came down on top of him. It's like, for fuck's sake. So literally for months and months after that, he would... Fuck. He would...
God.
That poor bastard. He would like literally check every single like part of furniture before he sat on it. And this went on for a good like 2-3 months. every time we piss ourselves, every time he would just check. He'd really get the chair, give it a good shake, table, bash down. And the furniture pulling apart had just about come to an end of its life cycle. Everyone had started to relax a bit. You know, doors weren't falling down spontaneously, like lockers weren't exploding. And this kid, we did it to him again. We did with the same thing, like his entire desk. We just took it apart, and he just about got to the point where he felt safe, sat down, everything everywhere, and he just led on the floor as if he was dead. Like, why is it always me? That poor guy. I know.
People are gonna hate us after this episode.
I know, but it was so fucking funny.
This is the thing, though, isn't it? When you're younger, you're just a horrible bastard.
Oh
That's
God.
just how it is.
I know.
Yeah.
Kids
I mean,
horrible things.
I never bullied anyone as much as I was a shit, but I didn't ever bully anyone. So
No,
I sort of just joined in with the horrible things that were happening.
Candy was just a proper right horrible bastard.
I wasn't the ringleader. I was quite nice, really.
I think you were you?
Well, looking back, possibly not. College was first college was a bit of a funny one because it was sort of when I didn't attend that much. Although I started doing like the
Because you
Duke
didn't
of
get
Edinburgh
EMA, you
Award.
didn't have money. You'd have been.
I didn't. I might have stayed. Well, my mum sort of
Yeah.
said, "Well, if you want to go to college, you have to work your way through it." So I was working in Virgin
have a
Megastore, and I
job.
loved it, and I love working at Virgin, and so I spent my time there basically.
Which is ironic.
Yeah. Wah, wah, wah. But I did start doing this Duke of Edinburgh Award in college because basically I fancied the teacher that was doing it.
nerd.
I thought you wanted to be an army.
No. Although I did do
Don't
Army
go
Cadets, and
Strensel.
that was a whole other story. So we were doing, I think it was one of the walks, and the teachers kind of met us halfway just to make sure we weren't dead and everything. And I kind of convinced this teacher that I fancied to, because it was, we were in groups
How old
of
were you, by the
4.
way?
How old?
Yeah. How old were you?
16, 17, I suppose. It was first college, so
Stop
it would have been straight
fancying
after
men.
school.
At that age, you're a child. I'm joking.
How is it 17 to fancy men? Anyway, he
I'm
was probably
joking.
in the wrong. Won't mention any names.
Oh,
God. No, it's not as bad as it sounds, but it is pretty bad.
Keep.
You probably should. So we get to where
Should leave the country.
his checkpoint, basically. And I just couldn't be arsed with it. I said I was feeling sick. So I convinced him to give me a lift back to the finish line. He's like,
right.
no, I can't. I have to stay here. I was like, I just went on and on at him, basically. And we were in his car, and I started fucking around like with the windows and everything, and like going through all of his CDs. And I remember he had
You're
this.
taking
Nissan
about his
Micra.
car with your.
Yeah, taking the door off. And I remember like clearly he had one of those CD players which was kind of you plug it into your Discman and it's like a little cassette that you plug into the radio. Do you remember?
Yes.
So I was fucking about with that and completely distracting him. And he was trying to like lean over to grab it off me, and he drove into a wall. Like he drove into the side of a wall, so crashed his car to the point. It wasn't like a bad crash or anything, but it was to a point where his wheel was probably disaligned. It turns out he didn't have insurance, so he'd like driven a student around, no insurance whatsoever. He got absolutely bollocked. I don't think he came back the following year.
Oh my God, you got a man sacked.
No, I didn't get a man sacked. His lack of insurance got him sacked.
Unbelievable.
Completely irresponsible behaviour from him.
I don't know. It takes two to tango.
It takes one person to drive with insurance.
Yeah, I did nearly wipe out a platoon, so it's all right.
Exactly. And then the other one, this was also in first college that I didn't really attend. And this,
oh God, that delay. Fucking hell.
you told that story half hour ago. So this is when, again, I was attending college, but I wasn't attending college. And the reason I didn't really attend college was because I discovered a band called Amen. I don't know, Eagles, if you would have heard of them, Casey Chaos.
I have.
Yeah, I've heard of them, yeah.
And I became quite good friends with the band to the point where they would let me stay on the tour bus.
To the point where you were wanking them off?
No,
Not yet.
I've got another wank story, but I'm not going to tell that one because it could implicate someone quite badly.
We'll do it in the Patreon section.
But this was in the same. This was on
That's
the same.
next week's
tour.
topic.
Wank days.
Wank of the week.
Wanking with fire.
Welcome to Wank of the Week with Candy Machine. This week I have mostly been wanking. Amen.
Oh God!
All of them.
New segment.
Do you know what? I still know these guys, so I might message them later in terms to listen to the podcast. But anyway,
Oh yeah.
because they might.
They'll turn around and go,
this.
"But you didn't wank us. That's not fair."
So anyway, so it was me and a male friend, and we were both probably 16, 17. Yeah, we would have been 16, 17 by the time. And the band, for some reason, enjoyed our company enough to let us go on the tour bus with them. And on a tour bus, you can pee in a toilet. You can't shit in a toilet. You can't put toilet roll in a toilet.
The macerate gets destroyed.
Exactly. It just blocked everything out. I wasn't particularly. I was a bit rusty with the rules, and it was a bad week for me to not be able to throw things down a toilet.
Oh, did you? Oh shit!
So,
really?
Throw thing down the toilet. I did.
Yeah.
And of course, sure enough, all the plumbing got blocked up and everything. And
There's
I
a
knew about
mouse in
this.
here.
They had to get everyone off the bus. They had to make a stop. Everything that they had to really flush the system. And
I thought you was going to say at first that you had tour bus belly, because tour bus belly is a real fucking thing.
No, but that's it. I have sharted on tour before. Times.
Tour bus belly. It's a curse. It's a curse. It's horrendous. When you get on that bus, kebabs and burgers. Yeah.
Oh, I've got a really good fart story, but I'll tell you that in a minute. It's not a college story, but
this is what this episode's for. Yes.
So I threw my thing down the toilet. Got the whole bus had to stop, get flushed, and whatever you. And everyone automatically thought that my friend, the male friend, had taken a dump on the tour bus, and I completely threw him under the bus. Like literally, I did not own it. I let him take the flak for that.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Why didn't you
day.
just innocently say, "Hi, I'm a girl"? Sometimes during the month, I have needs.
Can you imagine a
And I
16,
didn't know what to do with it.
17-year-old girl?
Yeah, it's probably the worst thing to say, innit?
That they were, in love with at the time.
That'd be awful, wouldn't it?
I'll move on to my fart story. This is a good one. This didn't happen in college, but this was the first time I went on tour with Wednesday 13. And so you have sort of three bunks either side, basically. So I would always sleep in the middle one. Wednesday would sleep across the road from me because I was friends with him and he was just kind of looking after me a bit. And, sometimes you wake up in the night and you farted yourself awake, but you're not really sure if you did. So that happened, and I sort of woke up with a start. I was like, did I just fart? I'm like, I'm not really sure. It's like, my ass doesn't feel like I farted.
Let me check.
Yeah, it's like, no, it feels all right down there. In the meantime, I heard Wednesday get out of bed, so I had obviously woken him up as well.
You farted.
And, I heard him sort of pottering around, and I started to go back to sleep. And I did it again.
Oh, no.
I was like, oh my God, I farted again.
No.
And I heard him stop what he was doing and kind of run back to his bed. And in the morning, I'd sort of forgotten it had happened. But he was telling me in the morning, he's like, I heard someone fart last night. I was like, oh God, oh no. He's like, yeah, it woke me up. I was having I made myself a cup of tea. And he's like, and then it farted, and then somebody farted again, and it scared me back to bed. I was like, anything. This is my first night on a tour bus.
Is this really rock?
Your farts are that aggressive that you woke him up and then scared him back to bed.
Exactly.
It is surprising how real like these rock stars, especially the fully makeup ones and all these like Satan looking ones, and then the normal, well, I was just making a pot noodle and someone farted and scared me back into bed. Because they had us people at the end of the day.
Wednesday's the worst for it. He's the most normal. He's an absolute scaredy cat as well. And
yeah.
I don't want to keep going on about tour stories, but this one is funny as well. So we were crossing the channel, and you're all supposed to get out of the bus and just go upstairs. But it was normally sort of 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, completely dead to the world. So me and Wednesday decided to stay on the bus downstairs, and the bus driver said, well, if you don't turn the electrics on, you'll probably be all right. And you just feel everything so much more. You feel the moving and the shaking. And I was like, just waiting for that moment the water starts to come up around me. I was like, Wednesday. It's like, what? It's like, this is a terrible idea. And he said, I know, when are we about to crash? So it was just, it was horrible.
Fuck that.
Yeah. So I guess I have college to thank for being able to go on tour because I sort of didn't go to college to follow
I will
rock stars
never,
around,
ever,
basically.
ever want to go on a tour bus ever again. I just think they're fucking horrendous.
I don't
I
mind
bet
the
they're a
tour
lot
bus, I
nicer when you've
prefer
got a
that
lot
to-
more money.
Yeah, the ones we were on were those Croslands ones, and they were okay. But
Yeah, they're
a van
good.
tour is not much fun.
The first time we lived in a Volkswagen Transporter for 6 weeks.
No.
And 6 people. It's disgusting. You think
Yeah.
you've had fart stories? My God. Biggie. Speaking of farts, old farts.
Oh, thanks very much. Yeah, I mean, I haven't got sort of
In the
any of those
Victorian
wild and crazy
times.
stories quite like that, but I mean, it was my formative years at college because I went through that journey
War
of music discovery that I kind of mentioned briefly on the pod before, where I
Yeah,
wasn't quite sure what I was into. I was either into chart music, I went into a bit of funk, Motown, soul, then it was rock, grunge, and then hip hop. So I mean,
Yeah.
my clothing reflected that. So I had all these kind of like these huge sort of
MC Hammer
American
pants on.
football tops, baggy jeans, but then I'd be walking around with like German para boots and having this
Wow.
really big curly frothed hair on the top with a hooped earring and then a bit of a goatee. And I just didn't really know what I
Stunning.
was.
See, that's one thing that I never seemed to hit me in my like teens was my music never dictated what I wore. It's really odd.
Do you
like,
still look exactly what you dressed then?
Yeah, like I would just be
Default.
default lad, default lad,
Mr.
like,
Matalan.
But like, if anyone said to you, oh, "Fuck off, not Matalan," like, but if anyone like back then, if I showed you a picture, you'd be like,
Yeah.
"Tell me the kind of music this guy listens to. Well, he listens to Britpop, he listens to chart music,
Yeah.
standard dance stuff." No,
And a
like,
bit of Avril Lavigne.
like I was listening to heavy metal and old rock and stuff like that. But you just
Yeah, you really like new metal and all, didn't you? You were big into that.
I loved emo music, but I just never
You just
the
didn't
culture.
dress.
I've never ever dressed the way that music's never
Mate,
dictated
I used
how
to
I
walk-
dress. It's weird.
It
It's
took me
We
a
weird.
used to
while.
walk around like Neo at the end of the Matrix. I'm telling you.
But that was it. You had a sort of a personal choice, and then until you found what you liked in the end, and that you kind of felt comfortable in. And now I'm sort of just hoodies, jeans, and
Mate,
t-shirts.
I've got
sort
a pink tie-dye vest on. I am not a goth anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Well, no, exactly. But that's what you sort of fell into. But that's what
I look
I was
like
trying
Jesus.
to reflect, and it didn't work half the time. It was really very, very weird. But yeah, I mean, all we wanted to do was basically at some point have an excuse to
Get
go and get stoned. So it didn't matter
Yeah,
whether
I
we
knew
did
it were
it
going to be that.
in the lesson. At the end of the lesson, I was working part-time as well. So as soon as I finished work, I meet up with my mates, we go and get stoned. That was literally, alcohol had very little impact on our college years. We would obviously go out for the odd beer and stuff, but it was always about, let's go for a smoke.
I have always said that about like the difference between weed and booze. Like booze tends to lead to misery. Weed's quite a happy little drug, isn't it? It's quite a social little
We were-
circle. You're all giggling. You giggle your sense to death, if anything.
Totally. We'd go around the mate's house, we'd just chill out, we'd play video games, listen to music, laugh. It was just
And
literally,
food tastes
never
so
went
much
to,
better when you're stoned.
yeah, all the
Not that
massive
I've done it
gigs
in
and stuff
years.
like that.
I can't touch none of that. I'm not allowed. But fucking hell. I miss that moment when you know when munchies creep up when you're fucking 17-year-old and you're, oh, if I eat this pizza now, it's going to be the best pizza in the world.
My mate Jay, we used to go to his house a lot, and even though his room was at the top of the house, it reeked of weed. Every time
Yeah.
you went into his room, you could smell it. But his
It
parents
stinks
downstairs,
anyway.
he still was under that impression that he somehow was hiding it from them. They had no idea, even though all these people kept frequenting around his house. And this one
Coming
particular
out with the
night,
reddest
we were just-
eyeballs ever. You're right.
Yeah, we were just chilling out, having a smoke, and then, I don't know, about 12:30, there was a knock on the door, or maybe a bit earlier than that. And there was this massive panic of, oh my God, it's the police. You know, they've realised that we
It's
all
the
smoke weed for
5-0.
some reason. They're going to come and arrest us. So we started like hiding all the weed and everything, having this massive panic attack until one of us realised we remembered we ordered pizza and had forgotten. And that was the pizza turning up. I mean,
Guys,
I
it's the
went,
feds. Turn off the Cypress Hill now. Fuck.
I mean, I went to see Cypress Hill in concert when I was at college. They were awesome. For me, they were my happiest years, and a lot of fun. I went to parties. I did a trip for the first time. Actually, that was awesome. You know,
we're going to talk more about
have,
parties in the Patreon bit.
I have very fond memories of my college time, and although we didn't get up to a lot of hijinks, a lot of it was just chilling out and enjoying life, basically. This is what I said on that's mega. This is what I said on the school days episode we did. I really loved school and college, even though I had scenarios where worst day of my life and stuff like that. I loved all of it because I were always in with a really strong crowd. Like high school, like primary school, high school, I was a bit more like Stig, where I didn't have an identity like physically. I still liked what I liked, but I didn't dress. I wasn't brave enough to do stuff like that. And then later into high school and college, I was like, fuck it. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm going to be who I am. And I always had like a really strong group of mates, so I never felt like an outcast ever. And then the fucking second that you're in a band, a school band, and your band's winning Battle of the Bands in your local area against all other schools, you're a god at school. Trust me. I became a god. It's the only place I've ever become anywhere remotely close to popular. I was untouchable. It was incredible. The only thing I would just very quickly mention, I was just going to say, was just about being a white guy listening to hip-hop. It's very difficult when people say, what music you into. That I didn't go massively over the top looking like Eminem when I was dressing up. I was trying to reflect a little bit of what I liked, but... You know, when you're a white guy and listen to hip hop, a lot of people look at you. It's just a bit weird. Back then, it was sort of like, oh, really?
Oh, we had a few M&Ms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did. We had some Marshall Mathers rocking around the school.
Everyone had a few M&Ms from our age, like.
Yeah.
And a few Fred Durst as well.
Hey, in my high school, we had one guy that was clinging onto Vanilla Ice somehow. Whoa. Clinging. Like you can't. That's not cool anymore. Do you know what I mean? I always miss that about because I picked my nephews up from school and they're in high school and stuff like that. There's no identity anymore that I can see as an old man. There's no cliques and stuff like that. Everyone's just everyone, aren't there? It's good because I'm assuming. I bet there's a lot less bullying nowadays. It'll all be cyberbullying instead, won't it?
There's still bullying, but I was listening to a podcast about something, and he said, his son is 13-ish, and he said his friend's gay, and he's out as gay, and everyone's like, fine,
everyone's
whatever.
like, cool. Yeah, ain't that good?
No one could have done that in my when we grew up. Not a chance.
I don't mean to that extreme, but that fitting in must be easier now than it was back in the day, without a doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a silver lining at the end of it. Do you know what I mean? Bless them. It must be fucking weird growing up in an age where, I'll text you when it's time to come out. Not plan it. If you're not there, we're gonna leave you because that's now. If you planned something and no one turned up, fuck them. You know what I mean? It was a lot of different times. Oh, granddads are talking now. But we'll leave it at that until the Patreon. We'll talk more about partying.
I've got one question before we go. Do you think we'd have been friends in college?
No. If me and you would have been. Me and you would have been, Candy, because we would have been listening to the same stuff.
Do you know what? You say that, but like I said, I have a core group of friends who I was friends with in school and college, who I'm still friends with. But I also had other groups that I latched onto and went to their house parties and went out with to see because I did like that kind of music. There was people that I would go to. There was like a rock night up in Borough. I'd go to stuff like that with them because none of my friends were interested in it. Yeah, so I did form other friendships with people.
That's healthier though, isn't it?
Did dress like the scene they were into, even though I didn't, but because I was kind of into the same things. Like I had friends who, because we played Counter-Strike a lot.
Yeah.
So there was a group of us that played Counter-Strike. Didn't hang out that much outside of school. Every now and again we did, but majority of the time was just on Counter-Strike, but it was completely separate from our core group. Like, so I was a bit weird, really. I just kind of bounced between. I had a core group, and then I bounced between other people who I was kind of friends with because of similar interests.
That's a good segue into what I was going to talk about right now, because we didn't get any feedback about this episode, and it seems in our Discord, most of our demographic were just gamers. By no means I'm saying this is a bad thing, but most people that we've spoken to,
you're the gamer of all gamers, aren't you?
No.
Put it this way: they weren't going around smashing gym doors in.
Yeah, and shit in the stand and stuff like that. It seems like it's funny.
Normal.
Like we can be saying, would we have been friends? It seems like we're friends now because we are the outcasts, aren't we? In a weird way, we are the people on the fringe and stuff like that. And like a lot of people, I imagine like someone like Gadget, he's probably he probably studied hard and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? And he enjoyed school for different reasons, for like the curriculum reasons and stuff like that.
I'll tell you one thing now, not just because of the pod, but even not that long before doing the pod, I probably embraced my hobby more now than I did before, because a lot of people still find it weird that I game or even do a podcast.
No, I mean, I was genuinely when I was younger, it was I would go to Leeds Festival and I didn't care. My friends, like, yeah, they're not coming. Like I said, I've got this core group of friends who I'm still friends with them now, but they are outside of like football and drinking. They have no interest in gaming. They only recently found out I did a podcast because they're not really interested in that side of things.
Yeah,
I found friends like you guys and other people in our Discord and other people over the internet just because I've gone, you know what, fuck it, like, they just
fuck it, yeah.
Yeah, like, who cares for the people over the internet? They have the same interest in me. I can talk to them about it. I can speak to them every day, and then I form friendships from that. So, but I did kind of still have that a little bit in college and in school. Like, I still had like people I would latch
really
onto because of the same interests.
I'm still really new to this, like,
those friendships, really.
This internet scene of like people like being into games and stuff, because I didn't get into games proper. Like, I had a SNES and stuff, but it was just something I might have played on a Sunday afternoon every now and again. Do you know what I mean? It was never a big deal to me, and until I was like, I really got into gaming when I was a stay-at-home dad type thing. Not I wasn't a stay-at-home dad, but you know what I mean. When I was when I was domesticated. Go out. Yeah, when I'm domesticated, that's it, like a pet. I go home from work and
you're a Tamagotchi, aren't you?
Since you got neutered.
Yeah, since I got neutered, and I stopped doing hedonistic things and taking things I shouldn't have done, because I spent 3-4 years of my life out of the country exploring the world, and I didn't see all that. Do you know what I mean? I didn't go to uni because I thought, fuck it, I'm going to see the world. It twisted my mind a lot, but like I say, I've got memories that I'll cherish forever. But like I said, we haven't got no feedback, because most of the people we've spoken to have said, no, I just went to school, I did my lessons, I came home and played games. I'm like, I kind of in a weird way envy that. I weren't mocking it in any way. I'm like, oh, look at you all with your money. Do you know what I mean? Look at you all, well-to-do people and kind-hearted people, and you're not scared of who you are and stuff like that. You don't have to put up a fucking shield.
The biggest thing from jumping from school into college is that there is that change in that lifestyle, that you're not regimented like you are at school. You have that freedom, and that
in this
really
country, you don't wear a uniform anymore, do you? Because I know in America, they don't wear a uniform ever. But in this country, it was a big deal, wasn't it?
Feel like as soon as you got to college, the teachers spoke to you a lot better. They spoke to you like adults.
You didn't have to call them Mr. Smith and stuff anymore.
It was very weird. It was genuinely like when you went from, you were the same age, still 16, you just had a summer in between. When you got back, they speak to you like friends, or like on their level, and they just adults, and they never treat you like shit. Like, if you didn't do your work, they'd probably give you a bit of a turn off, but it'd be more of a quiet word over here. You need to do this, rather than shouting at you in class. You wouldn't get shouted at.
Not a single. I don't think a single.
Even if you messed about, they wouldn't shout at you.
Not a single person in history has never been in detention in college, because it's not a thing, is it?
Yeah, no.
It's like, if you're naughty, fuck off.
Yeah.
Treat it like, in a weird way, it's like a job, isn't it? An unpaid job where you're here at your own volition. You don't have to be here. You're only wasting your own fucking time.
I tell you some of the teachers were so cool in my colleges that when we had our A-level leavers ball, and it was leavers ball, not a prom.
No, we didn't call it prom. We called it
Call it
end of
prom
year
now.
dance.
It's not a prom. It's a leavers ball, and we invited some of the teachers along because we liked them so much.
Yes, we did, mate. We did.
And
we did.
two of the teachers dancing and grinding on each other, pissed out their heads, getting off with each other on the dance floor. It's like
Into it
because they didn't give a shit. They were just like, yeah, we're around. These kids are all going now, like, but they were so comfortable being around us at that age that they were just like, yeah, fuck it.
We were young adults, though, weren't we? We were getting there. We were entering the world. Like when I left college, I was just about turning into an 18-year-old. You know what I mean? A man, or a boy, a man in a boy's body type thing. But yeah, thanks for indulging in these colleges. Next time we do one of these, it's going to be early work years. I think something like that. Interviews and all that nonsense. So yeah, we haven't had any feedback because again, our demographic, our listeners are all well-to-do, nice people by the sounds of things, which is quite nice. I think it's quite reassuring, really. Thanks for being yourselves. And next week we are going to be doing long-running franchises. Stig's going to take the helm on this one. I believe it's probably going to be a positive spin on it, isn't it? What we like.
Yeah, favorite favorite long-running franchises. So whether it's a long-running game franchise, film, TV, book, whatever your favorite, like one of those is, there's plenty out there.
But this is it, really. As always, links to all our extracurricular activities are in the show notes and at modernescapism.co.uk. And please consider becoming a patron to help support our endeavour. And with it being the beginning of the month, now is the best time to hit that pay us some money button. Please, it helps us. It helps us. It feeds us. For those very lucky few that are patrons, we'll meet you in the green room in a second. But for everyone else, this has been an episode. Thank you. Class dismissed. Bye.
Right.
Right.
3-second delay, innit? We won't have you any other way. You're not wrong. You're not fucking wrong.